Part 53. Looking for the Lost Ship Girl. Author, Hai De Rong Yan. Chapter 522. The bell rang many times. At this point, in the northern city, it was already dark. However, in the garrison in the south, it was still evening and the sun had just set. It was still daytime outside and the street lights weren't on yet. Of course, in the canteen, the lights were still on, and the warm yellow light lit up the entire canteen. Putting down the large spoon in his hand until Juno, who was in charge of serving dishes, picked it up with an indignant look, Saratoga took the dinner plate and left the window and returned to the dining table. She used chopsticks skillfully and looked at Missouri sitting next to her. The posture of holding the chopsticks in her hands was very weird. It took a long time just to pick up a piece of pork steak. She grinned and thought, if you're not good at using chopsticks, just don't use them. It's not necessary to use chopsticks. Why not just use a fork or a spoon in peace? You have to show off, huh? Feeling disdainful, the girl paused and thought again, just like having to use chopsticks, she had to stick to her brother-in-law's side all day long. If you clearly want to practice with someone, just invite them directly, and no one will refuse. I must find my brother-in-law again to be the middleman. It is obvious that the drunkard is not interested in drinking. You can't learn chopsticks, and you're just a newbie, and you won't get a ring just by showing off. Do it again, blow out your nose, hum. Saratoga picked up a green bean with her chopsticks, put it in her mouth and chewed it slowly. Blucher passed by with a whooshing sound, and Exeter passed by gently. The girl saw not far away again, Bismarck stretched out his finger and nodded Bizai's head. Bizai swayed like a roly-poly, with Prince Eugen laughing next to him. The voice was a little low, and he wasn't too close, so he couldn't hear clearly what he was saying. Saratoga looked at the expressions and movements of Bismarck and Bizai, and first saw Bismarck looking fierce. Then I saw Bizai actually retorting, quite confidently. When I finally saw Bismarck, his expression became more and more sinister. Guess what they were talking about? You don't do your job all day long, and all you do is read comics in one day. I paint well every day, and I don't stay at home every day. Those paintings of yours are unsightly. You deserve a beating. Hush. If you don't say anything, you'll hit someone. Seeing Bismarck and Bizai continuing to talk, Saratoga couldn't make up any more. He wanted to turn his face away, but he keenly heard two more concerning words, namely Admiral and sleep. Words. It is normal for these two words to be separated, but it is not normal to connect them together. Saratoga still knew a lot about her. Her brother-in-law liked to look for Bizai the most, and she suddenly had a lot of thoughts in her mind. Bismarck, you are so shameless. You force your brother-in-law to exercise with you every morning. Exercising is quite useful, as long as it takes up your morning time. From time to time, you also ask your brother-in-law to take time out in the afternoon to practice fighting and grappling with you. Why are you practicing all this? Do you want your brother-in-law to go out and fight? If anyone wants to bully my brother-in-law, just go up and punch him to death. No matter how powerful the gangster is, he can be defeated 10 times with one force. Haha, you take up so much of your brother-in-law's time a day, and you still can't give Bizai some time. Being a sister is too much. My good friend Bizai, you are so pitiful to have such a sister. Ignoring Bismarck and Bizai, Saratoga suddenly thought that the person who occupied her brother-in-law for the longest time was her sister Lexington. But it is a matter of course that the elder sister occupies the brother-in-law. Think about it, my sister is such a generous person, not because she takes the initiative, but mainly because my sister is the secretary, and my brother-in-law, as the admiral, of course spends a lot of time together in the office. Approval, signing, and decision-making all must be done by the brother-in-law. As a secretary, My sister cannot be self-righteous. On a matter of principle, Saratoga firmly stood by her sister. The brother-in-law must be a brother-in-law, otherwise it will be tasteless. Guam actually asked for so many chicken drumsticks. What was she thinking today? Does California like eggplant mince? Ziwi he eats tomato pasta instead of the tonkotsu ramen cooked by his sister Xiang-hee. Oh, what a terrible sister. Richelieu, I haven't noticed that she is wearing a knight's uniform today. Saratoga had a grudge against Richelieu, who was number one on the list of threats. She looked at Richelieu's leaving figure and slandered in her heart, Richelieu, he looked so majestic, he looked so serious, he looked so righteous. Nonsense, I've seen it several times, and with a straight face, I invited my brother-in-law to be a sketch model, the kind of model from the story Titanic. I also heard that it was said that he was helping to design clothes. Tisk tisk tisk. As a tailor, doesn't Tian Ho know about design? Need you? I think you want to put your hands on your brother-in-law, touch your shoulders, touch your waist, and check your figure in a pretentious way. South Dakota is at war with Washington again. South Dakota, the little fat little dwarf, is still like a child. I bought a small bike and ride it every day, but the speed is still as slow as a snail. He asked his brother-in-law to drive a small car, and he sat in the back seat and drove around the town hall. It doesn't matter if you are a destroyer, it is obviously a battleship. In particular, he also likes to hug his brother-in-law's waist and shout when he sees someone. He is very shameless. As green beans were put into his mouth one after another, Saratoga, who was bored, looked around the cafeteria and criticized them all. Of course, her expression was cold, and no one could tell what she was thinking. After taking a few bites of rice, she saw the dinner on the Missouri dinner plate sitting next to her. She thought to herself, the pork chop rice bowl looked delicious. When her brother-in-law came, she asked him to ask for the rice bowl, and then eat what's in his bowl. Yes, that's it. After waiting for a long time, Saratoga didn't see Sugu and suddenly became impatient. Playing with destroyers and submarines, isn't that interesting? Finally, after taking a bite of food, she decided to go to the pier to see for herself and make sure to give him a scolding. Dinner was not even in time. Who kept saying, everyone must be together during mealtime, otherwise there will be no townhouse, no port area, and no home. Anyway, Saratoga made her decision and stood up from her seat, crossing her chopsticks on her bowl. The placement of the chopsticks has no meaning and is just boring. Sitting aside, happily talking to Missouri, Lexington saw his sister getting up and asked in confusion, Gaga, what are you doing? Go for a walk. Saratoga had already left her seat. You still have to finish your meal. Lexington frowned slightly. The garrison was not short of money, but wasting food was also wrong and was not recommended. Saratoga was impatient, you can eat it later, it won't be wasted. When we left the cafeteria, it was quite bright outside. Of course, once it gets dark in this kind of sky, it will get dark very quickly. Where is my brother-in-law? Let's go to the dock. Muttering to himself, Saratoga headed toward the dock. It didn't take long to get from the cafeteria to the dock, she arrived quickly. Standing on the steps and looking down, everything was clear at a glance, and then she saw Sugu, her brother-in-law, carrying her and her sister on his back, actually hugging each other. In fact, Sugu felt a little embarrassed. U-47 was still riding on his neck, but he was being hugged. It was dinner time, and Fletcher came over to call everyone. Planning to go back, U-47 discovered an accident. It turned out that someone was coming. I wasn't in a hurry to have dinner, I stood by the pier, wondering if it was someone coming from the college or the company. Generally speaking, you won't come here at this point. Then it's possible that there was an emergency, and the telegram just couldn't explain it clearly. There is also a possibility that the ship girl who once guarded the mansion has returned. U-47, can you see who it is? Can't see clearly, can't you see it yourself? I don't have as good eyesight as you. Xiaozai muttered, it's strange that I spend time with a dead otaku girl every day. She has good eyes. Sugu pinched Xiaozai's face, I spend the most time with you every day. As the figure got closer and closer, Kong Xiang jumped up beside him and said loudly, it seems to be Sister Wichita. Sugu said to himself, Wichita. Wichita, a heavy cruiser, is also the strongest heavy cruiser in the game. Unlike Prince Eugen, who is mainly defensive, he is a complete main attacker. It is no better than the heavy cruiser Blucher. It is also the main attacker and has skills with huge side effects. Wichita's skills are perfect. As long as the skill is activated, Miss will never appear like some idiot. In short, it is a reassuring heavy cruiser. These are not the important points, the important point is that the other party has an absolutely hot body and is full of justice. People sailing from a distance are getting closer and closer, and strange voices are heard. Admiral. Waving similarly, the distance got closer and closer, and Sugu could see Wichita clearly. It can be said that it is a girl. After all, the word girl is too general. The girl is pretty, has a bright smile on her face, and looks very energetic. Long blonde wavy hair, white shirt, and trousers. The eyes moved slightly downward from the face, and a sentence suddenly came to mind, Baikan Dairy, don't worry about the milk, Baikan Dairy. When we landed in Wichita, we saw a big smile on the girl's face, with her white teeth exposed. Suguke I said hello, but the girl didn't care about U-47 at all, opened her hands, and he immediately received a big hug. Admiral, you are back. Feeling the hug getting tighter and tighter, the handcuffs clenched so tightly that she wouldn't let go at all, and the rubbing of justice on the girl's chest made her more and more unsettled. Be proud of loving the motherland, be ashamed of harming the motherland, be proud of serving the people, be ashamed of betraying the people. Prosperity, democracy, civilization, harmony, freedom, equality, justice, rule of law, patriotism, dedication, integrity, friendliness. Until U-81's childish voice rang next to him. Sister Saratoga is here. Sugu calmed down a little. His sister-in-law was the best at being jealous. He felt someone poke his back again, with a cold tone. Brother-in-law, what are you doing? Before Sugu could explain, Wichita let go of her hand, nonchalantly, put her hand in front of her forehead, and raised it again, Yo, Saratoga, gaga. As he spoke, Wichita made a chest-thumping motion. Looking for the Lost Ship Girl. Author, Hai De Rong Yan. Chapter 523. Oh, Admiral, your eyebrows are really light. Feeling two slender fingers brushing his eyebrows, and hearing Wichita's comment, Sugu said helplessly, my dad, my mom, my brother, and I all have light eyebrows. There is no way. It doesn't matter if your eyebrows are light or light. Just use an eyebrow pencil to make them thicker. Lexington is definitely good at it. Hearing Wichita's matter-of-fact tone, Sugu said, I'm a man, so I don't need to draw eyebrows. It's okay if my eyebrows are lighter. Wichita put a finger to her lips, threading your lover's eyebrows is a sign of love, that's what they say, I heard it said. Only when a man draws a woman's eyebrows, this is a sign of love. When a woman draws a man's eyebrows, either the man is an actor, the woman is a makeup artist, or the man is a sissy. Unfortunately, I am neither. Wichita suddenly understood and said in a casual voice, Admiral, can you help me draw my eyebrows? You don't have an opinion, it doesn't matter to me. As soon as he finished speaking, Sugu felt a hand reach out to his waist. It could only come from Saratoga. Although the girl did not pinch anyone or twist the flesh on her waist, He reached out and grabbed the girl's wrist to prevent her from breaking away. Wichita didn't notice the small movements of Sugu and Saratoga. She said to herself, "Admiral, smile." A smile bloomed, not forced at all. Sugu managed it easily. He is not a born actor, he cries when he wants to and laughs when he wants to. I was able to laugh instantly, mainly by lowering my head slightly and seeing Wichita's chest. The white shirt was about to burst and the buttons were struggling. No different than Helena, she has a drop-shaped amount of milk, which makes people think of the word heavy at a glance. Wichita capital is slightly inferior to Helena, but much taller. Wichita didn't pay attention, or rather, she didn't pay attention. Her focus was on Sugu's eyes, as expected. "Admiral, your eyes are already very small, and they will narrow when you smile." His eyes narrowed, and it wasn't the smile, it was the slur from Saratoga. "Squinting eyes are monsters," this is a complaint from Missouri. Away from the dining table where Shura Field was about to erupt, she sat next to Washington. She also learned that the girl with long golden wavy hair was the powerful heavy cruiser Wichita, and was also a comrade of the former garrison. There were people here a few days ago, and now there are people here again. It's too exaggerated, I have to complain. She was no better than Zeppelin, who had been in the garrison for a long time. She was already immune to this kind of thing, numb and indifferent. He even completely believed that when the garrison reaches its full form, he might really be able to rule the world. Not knowing the psychological activities of Saratoga and Missouri, Sugu's shoulders slumped. "My eyes were quite big when I was a child, but as I grow up, my eyes never get bigger. I am also very embarrassed." Wichita opened her eyelids with her thumb and forefinger and looked at her pupils. Sugu felt uncomfortable and blinked. Wichita quickly let go. "Can't you open your eyes wide? When you open your eyes wide, your brows become wrinkled and even more ugly. Are all the admiral's family like this?" "Sorry, I'm the only one holding back." Saratoga said, "Being an admiral, there is no requirement to have thick eyebrows and big eyes." Wichita said nonchalantly, "You look good with thick eyebrows and big eyes." Saratoga retorted, "Sword eyebrows and star eyes are the right ones. They all look good, I'll touch my face again." He felt a pair of hands moving on his face, rubbing and squeezing it. Sugu felt like he had turned into a doll. How did things develop like this? Wichita came back. She gave him a big, firm hug as soon as she came back, and she let go without any shyness. Ignoring sister-in-law Saratoga's jealous behavior, he took Wichita back to the governor's house, talking about what happened all the way, and not long after they arrived at the cafeteria. He put U-47 down from his shoulders early and watched the little Lolita disperse in the cafeteria. He immediately asked Wichita to eat first and talked while eating. After preparing the meal, I saw that Wichita didn't move. "You have been watching me cook." "Admiral, can I touch you?" "Can." Nodding, "That's how things started. Pinch your face, pinch your face, pinch your face, then touch your nose. My lips are very dry, and there is a light stubble on my chin, which is a bit prickly, just like in my memory." In fact, for Wichita, doing this kind of thing is mainly out of curiosity. A ship girl would not misremember the admiral's appearance, otherwise something big would happen. Even if they are twins, there are rare twin admirals. Even so, the ship girl will not mistake the admirals. However, when the admiral left, it was hard to imagine the admiral's appearance and the feeling of turning a blind eye. This time I have the opportunity to write down the admiral thoroughly. After looking carefully at Sugu's face, Wichita looked at Sugu's neck and said, "Admiral, I remember you have scars on your neck. When I was a kid, I played with fireworks and got burned. I remember you had scars on your wrists too. When I was a kid, I wore a smock, and when I got a fever, I tightened the elastic band around my wrist. It used to be close to the palm of my hand. But as I grew up, my hand became longer, and the scar was much further away from my palm. Poor Admiral, he is in so many troubles. Sugu didn't mind, he had always been in a good mood, fortunately, apart from falling from a tractor once and dislocating his wrist, and having received rabies vaccinations many times, there have been no serious illnesses, only a few bumps and bumps. He was killed by someone when he was a child. It's said that he has ADHD and can't stop for a moment, but as he grows up, he becomes quieter. Touch your head for comfort. When the girl touched his head, Sugu didn't know what expression to use. Thank you very much. Wichita reached out and patted her shoulder again, praising, Admiral, your shoulders are much stronger and your arms have more muscles. Exercise more. Beating his chest, my chest is also strong. I have abdominal muscles. Wichita was originally standing, leaning towards Sugu, who was sitting across the dining table. At this time, he sat back in his seat and reached out to pat the seat next to him. Admiral, sit here, how many pieces do I have? Wichita, that's enough. Saratoga endured it at first, but when Wichita touched Sugu's shoulder along her neck, she gritted her teeth and endured it. Touching her chest again, her whole body was already trembling. Wichita pushed further, and the girl couldn't bear it anymore. Wichita muttered, I won't suffer any loss if I touch it, and the Admiral will not lose a piece of meat. You like touching people so much, do you just touch other men outside? Wichita didn't look at Saratoga at all, her eyes focused on Sugu's abdomen. If you don't touch them, they are not my admirals. What does it have to do with me? Saratoga was furious. Then do you want to touch it down there too? Wichita hesitated. No. If the Admiral doesn't mind, it doesn't matter to me. Sugu smiled awkwardly. Let's forget it. Ever since Saratoga launched an attack on Wichita, Baizai was sitting nearby, wanting to watch the fun. She whispered, Admiral, take off your clothes and see if Wichita dares to touch her. Sugu looked back and thought, Baizai, you have really become old and dirty. It's your fault, it's my fault. Wichita was not shy and puffed out her chest. Admiral, if you feel that you are at a disadvantage, you can touch me. But it is best to give the ring first, otherwise you will be acting like a hooligan. Even though he was able to avoid embarrassment to anyone, Sugu couldn't do anything when they met. Even if the ship girl doesn't resist, she can't do it because it goes against her personal moral values. As for Wichita, your style is too bold. Seeing that things were getting more and more out of control, Saratoga shouted, Wichita, you are so ashamed. Wichita didn't care, it's the Admiral anyway. You are a girl. As he spoke, Saratoga felt more and more tired and wanted to kill someone. First it was Missouri, then the Magamas sisters, and then the bold Wichita came back. Anyway, Saratoga really wants to sing. I just captured a few demons and subdued a few more demons. Demons and monsters, why are there so many of her? Punch my Saratoga first. Even if I kill you, your soul will be thrown away, and your soul will be lost. Gods are trembling, ghosts are trembling, and you are beaten to the point where you are like a wolf, a tiger, or a leopard, with nowhere to hide. After the song ended, Saratoga saw Wichita hugging her hands and holding her chest. Her chest seemed to be getting bigger and taller. Bastard, 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 in terms of capital, if I lose, Saratoga will fight. But the goblin in front of me. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Looking for the Lost Ship Girl. Author, Hai De Rong Yan. Chapter 524. After the farce ended, Wichita didn't have much thoughts at first. Anyway, after what happened just now, I thought I knew the Admiral well. It will no longer be the same as before. The appearance is obviously familiar, but there is an inexplicable false feeling. I don't have much memory of where I met the Admiral and what happened together. Now the memory is real. In the canteen of the governor's mansion, the lights were on. He stretched out his hand to rub the Admiral's face and patted his shoulders. It was said that he still had abdominal muscles, but he didn't have a chance to touch them. I have to say that the Admiral is in pretty good shape. She has a bold character, like Helena, who would feel shy when it comes to her breasts, but she would be proud to hold them out. At the same time, he is confident, enthusiastic, cheerful, and generous. He does not have so many little juju, and he will not show a mocking expression to Saratoga, who looks like a defeated dog. He just complains, "Jaga is so stingy, I will not compete with you for the admiralship." Saratoga wanted to refute, but Lexington appeared. As a secretaryship, it is also the presence of the town government. It is difficult to subdue unruly existences such as the Prince of Wales and Bismarck, but among American ship girls, she is still very majestic. Especially for Saratoga, she coughed, and the girl suddenly didn't dare to hum anymore. Wichita poked a fried shrimp with a fork in her hand. She was still curious about the town hall. The governor's mansion is not big, but the decoration can be seen to be warm everywhere. Compared to before, under the warm yellow light, with dreams running around, Amethyst threw a paper airplane in the cafeteria. The tip of the paper airplane hit Admiral Hipper on the forehead, and he was trembling. Everything gives people a real and warm feeling. Recalling what happened, I actually didn't have much expectations for the Admiral's disappearance and return. I suddenly got the news, but I felt it was unbelievable, so I hurried over. He didn't have anything with him except money and keys. I saw the newspaper in Chuangziu. There was a report in the newspaper. "Admiral, your name was on it, and it was blackened and bolded. We have already discussed with the company that the rewards can be smaller and the publicity must be in place. It is difficult to get involved in places further away, but nearby cities, from the prosperous Chuangziu to Fujian City, as well as some smaller cities, such as Zhengang, Fangcheng, etc., must have sufficient publicity. After all, ship girls need to live, not Dragon Balls, appearing randomly around the world. They don't have a hometown, and traveling around doesn't count. They generally don't live in remote areas, at least in coastal counties, which is easier to handle. Of course, this is also a matter of doing everything one can to obey fate. Think about the time when there was a lot of fuss about building a civilized city, but few people remembered the slogans. Without discussing the little incidents that happened around her, Bizai whispered, "He, Sugu, make it bold and bold." Before she could finish her words, Bismarck knocked her hard on the head with a thud. Guys who can't tell the difference between occasions should be beaten. A mouthful of rice was put into his mouth without chewing it. When he heard Wichita mention Sichuan show, he chewed it twice and swallowed it. Consultant Su asked, "You work at Sichuan show?" "No, I just happened to be in Chuangziu. I left the governor's house, and I was with Colorado and the others at first, but then we separated. I worked as a passenger ship guard for a while, but I found it boring. Compared with fighting against the deep-sea ship girls, being a guard as for my responsibilities, my priority was to avoid fighting, and later I became a mercenary, and also worked at the Kanyang headquarters. In short, I have been to many cities. Recently I went to Fujian City to work as a model, and then to Chuangziu, to play." Saratoga wrinkled her nose and said, "Can you still be a model?" Putting her hands on her hair and dividing her wavy golden hair into two bunches, Wichita smiled proudly, "Why not?" Looking at Wichita's explosive figure, Saratoga could only reluctantly agree. Wichita continued, "I just spent 2 days at Sichuan show. I wanted to get my hair done. I wanted to dye my hair black and straighten it to change my image. I happened to see the newspaper. At Saratoga's request, Sugu ordered the pork chop rice bowl. While listening to Wichita, he slowly mixed the soup and rice with chopsticks. By the way, how long have you been in Yukyang City? It's been about half a year. Don't you know the raiders are there? Have no idea. The raiders have been in Fujian City, won't you contact them? How can we contact you? Sugu patted his head, forgetting that there was not enough communication here. I'm confused. Fujian City is very big, it's hard to come across. Even if we live in the same city, especially big cities like Shuangzhou and Fujian, meeting each other requires coincidence. Think about it for yourself. If you didn't accidentally learn that there is a painter who specializes in painting Bismarck. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gone to the exhibition and wouldn't have met Leipzig. Of course I wouldn't have met Baizai, who always likes to stay at home. Wichita has a bold personality and is not an idiot. She said, the Admiral is trying to get everyone back, right? Yes, there has been no good way. We can only rely on rumors and newspapers. Holding the side of her face with one hand, Wichita smiled and said, I rarely read newspapers. I only read fashion magazines. Have you ever thought about publishing information about the town hall in magazines? As a girl, the ship girl knows how to read fashion magazines and emotional magazines, but rarely pays attention to newspapers. I've thought about it. You haven't read the latest magazine, right? We are specifically looking for someone and published it on a page in the magazine. It's not a missing person notice. The missing person notice feels weird. It uses the title of the news. In fact, I still want to use UC body. What is UC body? It's a new style. For example, a woman couldn't take off 3 rings on her finger and asked for help from the firefighters. Then the UC style is, it feels good to put it in. It hurts to take it out. The firefighters went to the young woman's house late at night. The reason it's actually like this. Wichita was stunned for a moment, then laughed again. Why not use a UC body? The influence is too bad. Well, actually magazines are also difficult. Only Sichuan Show has magazine publishers. Except for cities affected by Sichuan Show, magazines are rarely sold. Not to mention publicity, it is still going on in an orderly manner. Sugu said, I forgot to ask, do you live alone? Yes, Wichita nodded. Pity. I still think about many people being together, like the Magama sisters and Long Xiang, but they are single. Wichita was puzzled at first, and then understood immediately. She understood, and she raised her breasts proudly again. In fact, she had done it many times, but she had the capital. Pity. Admiral, please say something else. Take a look at Wichita doing chest-thumping movements, with her bright smile, white teeth, delicate appearance, and explosive figure. The skin does not look like that of a real Westerner. Many people can only look at it from a distance and not play with it. Otherwise, it will be body odor and large pores. When Wichita hugged her for the first time, she discovered that the girl's skin was fair and smooth, and she had a light body fragrance. Of course, regarding this, the ship girl was born from beauty. No one will have a series of shortcomings such as body odor, large pores, excessive hair, etc. In short, looking at Wichita, Sugu must admit that it is not a pity. Brother-in-law. Nodding subconsciously, Sugu suddenly felt his hand being held by his sister-in-law Saratoga. Although Saratoga's chest is inferior to Wichita's, it is not inferior by much. All arms are immersed in softness, making people feel warm and happy. He was also surprised that his sister-in-law rarely showed such intimacy to him in front of Lexington. In the past, she kept her identity to herself, or she liked to do sneaky things behind her sister's back. Despite the fact, Lexington knew all about her favorite tricks. Lexington absolutely cares about his sister and knows everything about her. I obviously like the Admiral the most, but I don't want to show it. Since she doesn't want to, or rather likes to play, let her take her time. At this time, Wichita spoke again, "Admiral, do you want to divorce Gaga?" "Don't dare. It is impossible to divorce, and those who do so will be killed. When a ship girl can't stand the stimulation, she will immediately fall into the deep sea. This is the relationship between the ship girl and the deep sea ship girl, where one thought becomes a Buddha and the other a devil. Think about Saratoga, it will definitely become a deep sea flagship. Then the deep sea flagship has wisdom, and may hate it out of love, or may continue to like it, but it will become extreme. Thinking about it, it seems quite touching. Of course, just think about it. Wichita is not afraid of trouble, it feels like your relationship with Gaga has broken down. She is very worried about you, you just said you didn't dare." "It's not that I don't dare, it's that I don't want to. I like Gia the most." Snort. Hearing Sugu's words, Saratoga hugged him tighter and showed a proud smile, "My brother-in-law." Wichita slapped the table and laughed, "Well, he is also the brother-in-law of Bazai and the brother-in-law who fights back." Saratoga's expression became more and more ugly, "You still have nothing." Wichita stood proud again. Looking for the Lost Ship Girl. Author, Hai De Rong Yan. Chapter 525. The night Wichita came back, Sugu went to see the Prince of Wales. A thin printed blanket is spread on top of the thick quilt, and whenever possible, counter-attack will help the Prince of Wales to dry the quilt and quilt. Her bed is always more comfortable than others. Of course, Lexington himself is a diligent home travel essential player, and Bismarck also has a little nanny, Prince Eugen, so they are not much worse. As for Sugu's own bed, it was a battleground for military strategists. Sugu moved on the comfortable bed, put his hands under his armpits, and hugged the chest of the Prince of Wales. Sugu said proudly, "You are still better." The Prince of Wales said in a calm voice, "Admiral, don't compare us. It's impossible not to compare." Sugu became happy, "I saw Wichita puffing up her chest all night. I feel like Leipzig and San Juan are both hurt. Haha, San Juan is a ship, she will definitely say hello to Wichita." Then I saw that her eyes dimmed as soon as she saw Wichita. To live in Wichita, she first found an empty room, packed it up, and then had to get bedding and daily necessities. As a warehouse manager in Leipzig, I saw her. She always has a straight face, as if she owes money and refuses to pay it back. South Dakota is the only one who is happy because she has a good mentality. Thinking about her, she seems to be miserable. She is short, has small breasts, dark skin, and fat. He groped again, "Well, Prince of Wales, I suddenly discovered that yours is still bigger, but Wichita is taller." The Prince of Wales grabbed a pair of hands that had been wreaking havoc on his chest. "That's enough, Admiral." Normally, this sentence should be majestic and serious. Even if it cannot scare Bismarck, it can still scare many people and turn many people into trembling quails. Now her tone seemed a little soft and shy, although it was not like Bismarck, who would turn into a soft cat when touched, and it was difficult to remain majestic in this situation. Without fear, Sugu was still happy. "Prince of Wales, let's put on night uniforms and show up in front of Wichita tomorrow. We can't keep doing this to her, destroying the harmony of the town hall. If you wear a white shirt, you can unbutton the chest, jump away. You go find Helena." The governor's house stabilized Wichita, and there were only 2 of them. Bazai might agree. She stays at home and likes to do interesting things when her mood arises. The Prince of Wales is different. He will act gentle in bed, but will definitely act majestic in front of outsiders. Even in the face of the closest counterattack, she will not show timidity and will never agree. Sugu hugged her tighter. "If you don't want to, forget it. Think about Wichita. Well, leave her alone, I'm going to start." It was another happy night. When Sugu got up in the morning, he sat beside the bed and saw the Prince of Wales sitting in front of the dressing table with long golden hair. Counterattack, dressed in a maid outfit, stood behind, combing the Prince of Wales' long hair. Brushing her long hair was an act of intimacy. However, Sugu found it difficult to enjoy this power and always gave him the opportunity to counterattack. Counterattack, you judge. Yesterday I asked the Prince of Wales to do a favor, but as my wedding ship, she kept pushing back. The Prince of Wales put it lightly, boring. The counterattack was clear. As a ship girl, it was difficult to refuse the Admiral's request. Others may not know it, but she knows that the Prince of Wales also likes the Admiral the most, but he just won't show it. Puzzled, he paused while combing his long hair. What's the matter? Before Sugu could speak, the Prince of Wales said in a cold tone, try to say it, it's not serious. Okay, no more, I won't say any more. Decisively accepting the threat, Sugu shut up. After all, the Prince of Wales is also a juicer. If you offend him, you will feel uncomfortable in the future. Besides, if the boudoir talk between the bed and the bed is heard by outsiders, it will have a bad impact. Some things can't be said, but others can be said. Sugu was indignant. You heard the counterattack. Someone is threatening me now. What should you do? Counterattack had already put down the horn comb. Her movements were skillful, and she had done the hairstyle of the Prince of Wales. She also knew Sugu's character very well, and her voice was soft. Admiral, you are the most unscrupulous and the least upright person. After washing up and going to have breakfast first, Sugu found Wichita. Did you sleep well last night? Good. Let's make do. This is the only condition the town government has. Very good, otherwise you think I live in an apartment or a villa. After taking a big sip of preserved egg and lean meat porridge, Sugu said, what are you planning to do when you go back? Move. Wichita took the sandwich and didn't mind showing her unladylike side in front of Sugu, biting off most of it in one bite. Admiral, whenever you have time, we will go there. Yes, Sugu knew very well that the meaning of the sentence must be to let him take action. Not liking procrastination, Sugu immediately said, otherwise, let's go today, go early, and finish things early. You said yesterday that you happened to be visiting Chuangziu, so if you have luggage, you should leave it at the Chuangziu Hotel. Your home is in Fujiang City, let's go to Sichuangziu City first, and then to Fujiang City. By the way, you are working as a model, what will you do with your work? Do not care. In spite of. Wichita waved her hand, there is no contract, freelancing, and you get paid once you perform. After breakfast, let's set off. It's best to finish it before sunset. Suddenly, a voice rang out, I want to go too. Out of nowhere, Saratoga appeared next to Sugu. She tapped Sugu's thigh again and whispered, brother-in-law, I told my sister that you have been looking at Wichita's breasts. To be honest, this is an injustice. Even if he didn't say he was wronged, Sugu was still in a dilemma. As a normal man, he wouldn't have his lower body controlling his upper body and his sperm in his head. However, it is really difficult to look at the beautiful women in front of him. You can't just do anything, and it's too much to not watch. Especially when many people buy new clothes, they insist on dazzling them in front of you, waiting for your praise. Sugu was very good at dealing with her sister-in-law, your clothes look very good today. Wearing a long blue dress and a round hat, Saratoga's face was full of joy. Until Long Xiang reached out to take off the hat and put it on his head. The hat is very handsome. It wasn't a date in the first place, so Sugu didn't mind Saratoga coming along, and then more people went along. In short, just like that, Wichita lived in the governor's mansion from then on. Of course, the entertainment in the Tutlari mansion is not as good as that in the city, such as zoos, amusement parks, and shopping malls. To say the least, Sugu has been to many garrison mansions. In comparison, the entertainment in his garrison mansion is considered to be good. There is a painting studio, but it is a pity that apart from Richelieu, it is very rare to visit Bazai. She likes to stay at home, even if she is with Sugu, it is Sugu who takes the initiative to find her. If you expect her to take the initiative, you have to wait. When we go out together, we usually sleep on the bench in the governor's mansion, and even sleep on Sugu's lap pillow. It feels like the venue is just a change. Counseling offices in Exeter were, to some extent, closed down. KTV is dark and noisy, and a few people like it. There are still some people here and there in the library. The chessboard room is now largely deserted, and the mahjong tables are full of people. Everyone's favorite is the coffee shop. There's nothing better than enjoying tabletop games while enjoying delicious food. Backgammon, flying chess, beast chess, military chess, Monopoly, and Go are no longer played. It is said that Akage Club, she is a quiet person who doesn't like to move. Sugu had originally thought about Werewolf and Please Close Your Eyes at Darkness, but he only heard the names and didn't know how to play them. After staying for a few days, Wichita now also likes to be in the coffee shop the most. She has a bold personality and should be very good, but no one likes to play with her. I made a mistake, regret it? You can't regret your move. Don't be so stingy. He forced himself to regret his move. It's inconvenient to regret playing Monopoly, but Wichita can still do it well. Bumblebee, lend me some money. If you can't borrow money, if you have no money, you can sell the house. I just don't want to sell the house, so I'm asking you to borrow money. Without York City around, the Hornets are always bullied, and Wichita is really disrupting the rules of the game. Wichita is really good at Truth or Dare, and she's definitely the winner. Truth or Dare, apart from wanting to hear the truth, seeing people who are shy and hesitant to speak, is also a good experience, but this is not a problem for Wichita. Who do you like best? Santiago would hesitate, as ship girls, who else can we like? Same question to Wichita, who is your favorite? Even if Sugu was next to her, she could nod boldly and not care. I like the Admiral. It was a rare heavy rain in winter and no one went out. Sugu experienced the power of Wichita. In the KTV, I listened to rock music performed by Alaska and Guam. He sang Sailor again and his skills shocked everyone. The wheat was passed to Nevada, and he had no choice but to run out of the KTV while being tone deaf and howling like a ghost. It was a pity that I didn't finish the fruit plate I ordered along the way. I went to the coffee shop and sat on the soft booth sofa. I couldn't enjoy it anymore, and I saw Wichita being driven away from Truth or Dare. Sugu's side was mostly surrounded by small houses at first. However, since Xiaozai had more and more friends in the guard house, she rarely stayed with him. It makes people worry that her original great idea of building the best garrison and finding everyone was just to satisfy her own needs. In addition to Xiaozai, Saratoga also likes to stick to her side. She is not always by his side. She prefers to be alone with two people. Wichita saw that no one was around Sugu, and she was sitting next to her with her own beer. Admiral, Ziwa, he likes you. Of course Sugu knew this kind of thing, but he still asked, how do you know? They said it. Wichita flipped her long golden hair and motioned Sugu to look in the direction she pointed. In a remote corner, a group of people were chattering. They said it can't be spread out, only to the people here. I know, I think it doesn't matter. Sugu sighed, Wichita, you will have no friends if you do this. What do you think, Admiral? Wichita thought about it for a moment. Anyway, if I am a man, I will give a ring to anyone who wants it. To make everyone happy. It's free if you don't eat. Your idea is really rude. Thinking of this, Sugu said, you still can't be so casual. Wichita nodded, that's right, at least you have to be beautiful, otherwise you have to be educated, and your personality shouldn't be too bad. Sugu wanted to nod, but then thought about this topic, it would be better to ignore it. He remained silent and heard Wichita's voice again. By the way, the Admiral has Helena and Akagi on his wedding ship. There are 10 wedding ships. We can't have more, otherwise our body won't be able to keep up. There are many ways to slander a man, but there is one thing that doesn't work. Sugu quickly said, Ruhi is the only one, mainly because of Ruhi's idea. She has her favorite short hair, and even though her figure is a bit off, I actually quite like Ziwihi's personality. Immediately Wichita shouted, Ruhi, I told the Admiral for you that you like him. He said that you are the only one who wants to confess to you. Ziwihi spoke with a trembling voice, damn it, Wichita, I'm going to kill you. What did you say at the beginning? I see you are hesitant, so I'm doing you a favor. I want you to take care of it. Wichita complained, 1 or 2 were hesitant. I remembered that I went to a garrison before and it was the same. The Admiral's 2 ship girls liked the Admiral and were hesitant to say it. Then I persuaded the 2 ship girls my mother has confessed her love to the Admiral. There aren't that many ship lords here, so it's normal for one Admiral to have 2 ship girls. Think about it, in the game a person fights against the deep sea to save the world. Here, all the Admirals fight against the deep sea and save the world together. Full of curiosity, Consultant Su asked, what happened next? That Admiral married both of them, perfect. Who are the 2 ship girls? Remember, one is Shivo and the other is Yingrui. Let's not talk about whether the gendarmerie will come to our door, I'll just ask for it. Wichita was not happy, what does it mean to ask for your own blessings? Shakia and Yingrui are both cute. As for the military police, they are here. Just beat them out. M-Plan liked it? Thinking about Shivo and Yingrui in the game, Sugu still nodded, anyway, give me your blessings. Wichita was left out of Truth or Dare and never had the chance to participate. She also said hello to Ruhi every day, or rather, she was brave enough to say hello to anyone. He has a direct personality and is completely unafraid of being embarrassed by not getting a response. Another day later, Sugu did not wait for Ruhi's confession and saw Wichita waving in the corridor. Admiral, come here. Sugu hurried over, and then heard Wichita say boldly, Admiral, I like you. It doesn't matter whether you like me or not, I like you anyway. After saying this, Wichita walked away and Sugu fell into confusion. From a girl's confession, or from a punishment game? Even though I am bold, I am still worried about being rejected. Lexington appears. In short, after this incident, everything was as usual, Wichita's character was still bold, and the daily life in the town hall remained the same. Looking for the lost ship girl. Author, Hai De Rong Yan. Chapter 526. Dark clouds covered the sky, and the whole world seemed dim. Only the occasional appearance of lightning, like a silver snake dancing wildly, like a whip of thunder and lightning, can there be a little light. There was a rumble of thunder, deafening. There was another sound of sea breeze, like the sea god blowing his horn. A little shouting became pale and feeble amidst the thunder and wind. You hurry up, they are coming. It's too late, we can't leave. You go first, let me take over here. The person who spoke had heterochromatic eyes and blonde hair that reached shoulder height. She was wearing a maid outfit. She used to be popular with her chic image, but now she looked a little embarrassed. No, reputation, you can't stay. Even you can't resist them. Leave it to me, I will take over. Sheng Sheng showed a bitter smile. Hood, go back and tell the Admiral, just say, as a ship girl, after waking up from the sea, one day she will sink in the sea. Sheng Sheng did not die, but just met his fate. Also, tell him that Sheng Sheng can be his ship girl. I am really happy, very happy, very happy. Tell him that Sheng Sheng has always liked him, No matter what he does, no matter what, I will always like him and want to be his head maid for the rest of my life. Prestige! Hood shouted, and Sheng Sheng turned around, and the black skirt of the maid's uniform lifted up in the air, drawing a beautiful circle. The dashing woman turned around with a big gun in her hand. There was infinite darkness in front of her, but her back was so reliable. Prestige! Big tears fell on the dark sea and disappeared instantly. The blonde woman took off her glasses with broken mirrors on the bridge of her nose. The flowers on her head had already withered in the gunfire, and she burst into tears. However, this matter must have a result and someone must take responsibility. Putting his glasses back on, Hood shook his head. Lion, let's go. But I said let's go. Who is the flagship? Give me orders. Lion, he shouted heartbreakingly, tears sliding down his cheeks. Thinking of his impulse, Hood's voice became softer again. Lion, let's go. We really must go. We can't let our reputation sink and die in vain. I gave the order to retreat, and I will bear all the consequences. No, such a heavy responsibility. Someone must be responsible for the sinking of reputation. Hood spoke very fast, then calmed down. I have been a flagship for a long time, and I can no longer grow. You are different, Lion, you still have with the space to grow, you will grow stronger than anyone else. Only you can shoulder the glory of the Royal Navy, and your responsibility is heavier than mine. Prince of Wales, counterattack. Rodney, Nelson, it's just you and the vanguard now. The future is yours, and the Admiral also needs you by his side. Hood. He called again, Senior Hood. I finally heard you call me Senior. The originally gorgeous skirt became tattered, and the blonde hair became messy. The lion looked at Hood and thought a lot. Hood, that was my senior, but as a senior, I didn't show much respect to him. Thinking of every time we met in the past, I always liked to say, Hood, your breasts are meowing again. I remember that at that time, I could immediately hear Hood's reply, why are breasts meowing? Lion, you must have heard wrong. Haha, I can't bark, so where did your fish cake go? Fish cake? Fish cake went to play with Bismarck's Oscar. Remember, you don't like Oscar, and besides, aren't you and Bismarck sworn enemies? Even if he is a relentless enemy, even if he hates Oscar, this hatred cannot be extended to Ginger and fish cake. Meow meow, Ginger, fish cakes, everyone, come and eat the dried fish, your chest is moving. It's moving, it's not surprising. Lion, I told you, the fish cakes are not here. Hee hee. Recalling every encounter, the lion closed his eyes. I used to like to laugh at my seniors, my hobby of stuffing cats, and my seniors as useless mascots who only drink black tea. However, only then did I realize that seniors will always be seniors, brave and fearless, calm and powerful. This strength does not come from the power of the ship's equipment, nor does it come from the Mk6 and Type 91 armor-piercing bullets, but from a strong heart, a heart that can shoulder everything. Hood, I'm leaving. I will shoulder the honor of the Royal Navy. Another lightning struck from the sky, illuminating the whole world in an instant. They want to leave. The girl who spoke had white hair, and her face was full of charm. Behind her was a terrifying steel beast, its eyes emitting a faint blue light. It's not so much eyes as two blue flames burning. The beast also has a huge gun barrel, and just one look at it will give people the feeling of falling into an ice cave. Deep sea flagship, deep sea roadbed, Pachina, of course some people call her Fortress CG. We can't let them go, they must all stay here. The voice was cold and cruel. The ship's suit resembles some kind of beast, with a ferocious mouth and a pair of huge claws. Let's not say what kind of beast this is. In short, the ship's armor exudes a green light, and the caliber of the gun barrel is also huge. The woman who controls the ship has short silver hair, cat ears and tail, and a sexy butt. Bismarck is also the feared deep-sea flagship, the Deep-Sea Bismarck. Terrifying and powerful, with the lives of countless ship girls on his hands. Hurry up, kill them, I'm going home, the shell, hit, it hurts. Hee, it hurts. The artillery fire flying from a distance hit the speaking woman's body. The sea breeze blew by and the smoke dissipated. It was seen that there were no wounds or scratches on her body. She has medium-length silver hair, a lazy expression, sexy lower breasts, and alluring feet. It's easy to fall in love at first sight and never get out of bed. Tirpitz, lonely queen of the true north, Tirpitz of the deep. Pachina, Bismarck, and Tirpitz, the combination of three deep-sea flagships, is an existence that no one can resist. At this time, they were standing on the sea, watching their opponent retreat, and another person rushed up first. Deep-Sea Bismarck chuckled, reputation. Juicer girl, fortress girl smiled charmingly, does she want to rush forward just by relying on one person? Deep-Sea Tirpitz looked impatient, kill her quickly, I want to go home. The younger sister had already spoken, and Bismarck of the deep-sea side, do you want to cover the retreat? Oh, I can only eat a small snack first, and then go to the big meal. Terror spread, and a huge wave called fear rose up. When the huge wave reached its highest point, Deep-Sea Bismarck raised his hand, snapped his fingers, and the cannon fire from the terrifying ship next to him was blasted out in unison. No one could resist, not even the reputation of being called the god of war, and he was defeated in an instant. After sailing a little distance, looking at reputation with only its last breath left in front of him, Bismarck of the deep sea said in a cold voice, reputation, you are very capable, you will have this day too. Snort. You don't want to admit defeat, do you? Snort. You don't want to give in, do you? The claws of the terrifying ship suit fell next to the blonde woman, and they slowly closed their claws. Bismarck of the deep sea laughed wildly, if you don't give in, you will go to hell. Before his claws could be closed, the roar of a carrier-based aircraft suddenly sounded in Bismarck's ears in the deep sea. She raised her head and saw several small paper planes flying across the sky and bombs falling. Some fell on the sea surface and exploded into huge water columns, and some fell on the ship's equipment with a roar. Even though her ship was equipped with strong armor, it was like paper under the terrifying power of the bomb. The flames also rose, and the smoke rose. The opponent does not have an aircraft carrier, and even if it does, the bombing power is too powerful. Who is it? Who is it? Another artillery fire came over, and Deep-Sea Bismarck looked along the trajectory of the artillery fire. The target of the artillery fire was his sister, and it hit the target. It hurts, it really hurts. Hearing his sister's painful wails, he saw the horrific cracks on his sister's ship armor. As a sister, Deep-Sea Bismarck knew his sister very well. Her armor was far superior to his own, so it was said that artillery fire would be difficult to cause damage. No matter how horribly injured she was, if the target had been herself, she would have sunk immediately. Bismarck of the deep looks to the left. Who is it? Deep-Sea looks to the right. Who are you? Bismarck of the deep shouted, come out. An arrogant and childish voice sounded. I'm sorry, I'm late. I'm sorry to tell you, reputation, you can't sink her. She is my maid, I cover her. I saw a small figure appearing in the sea. Big hat, short black hair, a piece of weed in his mouth, his cute face full of disdain and arrogance. Crossing her arms with her chest, she was wearing a white skirt with raw edges. There are cannons, anchors, and red and white lifebuoys around him. A familiar shadow, Black Cat Oscar, squatted on the left ship suit. There is the word on the forehead, and a ferocious tiger is sitting on the right side of the ship. In short, it is majestic and domineering, but also cute. To be honest, the little girl still doesn't look very powerful. However, Her fierce momentum, the terrifying bombing capability of the carrier-based aircraft just now, and the powerful power of the artillery fire cannot be faked at all, and they are real money. Deep Sea Bismarck's voice trembled. Who are you? Why are you so strong? Forgot to introduce myself, I am Sook Bader, you can also call me Sook Bader, Lord Sook Bader. Supply ship. The little girl was folding paper airplanes in her hands. She slowly folded a paper airplane and threw it into the sky. The paper plane broke through the strong wind and turned into a small carrier-based aircraft in the sky. The carrier-based aircraft roared and hovered in the sky, climbed up to high altitude, and swooped down again. No, I am not a supply ship, I am an aviation battleship, or you can also call me Star Destroyer. Panic and trembling, this is an unbeatable opponent. Bismarck of the deep sea is also afraid, and she is also single. Yes, I'm sorry, Lord Sook Bader. We have no intention of offending. Let's leave now. Come when you want and leave when you want. Is there such a good thing in the world? Deep Sea Tirpitz weakly whispered, Sister, it hurts so much, I'm afraid. Fortress G was surprised, she is cute and powerful. She is already invincible, the greatest Lord Sook Bader. Deep Sea Bismarck raised his hand, I'm sorry, we swear to return to the depths of the sea and never invade you again. I'm not afraid at all if you swear or not, if you invade or not, you shouldn't invade our townhouse, and you should bully my reputation as a maid, bully my cathood, we like ginger fish cakes. Bismarck of the deep sea had completely fallen into panic, and gritted his teeth again, no, you can't do this. We will fight to the death, and even you will be injured. Ha ha ha, resist, get hurt, now that you said that, I'm scared, ha ha. Bismarck, I allow you to go, but Pachina and Tirpitz must stay. Deep Sea Bismarck turned around. She glanced at her sister's pitiful expression and bargained, there's no point in keeping them. I brought them out, and I have to take them back. Please, give me a chance, and I will change my ways. No, they must stay, not one of them is missing. Why? I won't do it if I say no. They have to stay. Why? Even the enemy has the right to know. Reputation stretched out a hand to protect her chest. As the head maid, she knew a lot and explained in a low voice, Pachina and Tirpitz, they must be the admiral's wife and maid. You can't do this. Now that you're here, stay forever. Bismarck, since you don't want to. Sheng pursed her lips and turned to Sook Bader, Sir Sook Bader, if Bismarck doesn't want to, then keep her too. Right. Even though it's not as good as Pachina and Tirpitz, the Admiral has said that he likes it too. Okay, I regret it, Bismarck, and you have to stay too. Sook Bader put his hands on his hips, oh ho ho ho, I am the most powerful Lord Sook Bader. The sun was setting on the coast, and a fishing rod was set up on the reef. The float rose and fell, and was finally pulled into the sea. Apparently a fish took the bait. Push push. Sook Bader didn't wake up, pushed again. Sook Bader, wake up, the fish is going to run away. Who is it? The murmur started, and the young girl with short black hair woke up from her stupor. She sat up and lowered her head again. The black cat Oscar and the ferocious tiger were both sleeping next to them. Whoever woke people up would be unforgivable. It was about to defeat the deep sea flagship again. Congratulations, Coca-Cola actually woke up at the critical moment. By the way, what do these words push down, lick and bully mean when it comes to reputation? Sook Bader, you finally woke up, unfortunately, the fish also ran away. The little black-haired girl looked at the little girl with the big brimmed hat, well, Odin, why are you trying to wake me up? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Looking for the Lost Ship Girl. Author, Hai De Rong Yan. Chapter 527. The sun was shining brightly, and the gentle sea breeze swayed the reeds on the shore. The waves hit the rocks and foamed, and there was another splashing sound. Her short black hair was messy, her little white skirt was stained with a lot of mud, and she was wearing pink bucket shoes. Suk Bader sat on the ground, rubbing his eyes with his hands. Regardless of the pet sleeping soundly beside him, he picked up the black cat Oscar with one hand, and stretched out another hand to pick up the ferocious tiger. Of course, the ferocious tiger is not a real beast, it is also a kind of ship decoration. Judging from the appearance alone, it should be said to be a small-sized tiger or a large-sized cat. After a long sleep and feeling listless, Suk Bader murmured, "Where are our fish?" "Inside the fish basket. Don't let Kajiro and Shiranui take it away." Odin said firmly, "Of course I will protect my fish, our fish." I used to trust Odin very much, but after being woken up just now, Boss Suk Bader is dissatisfied and doesn't trust him that much anymore. She walked to the fish basket and squatted down, then picked up the fish basket from the shallow sea water. All the sea water flowed out from the small holes on the side of the fish basket. There were many fish flapping their tails in the fish basket. Seeing this scene, she felt relieved. Odin was also squatting next to the fish basket. His friend didn't trust him and smacked his face with dissatisfaction. Suk Bader was surprised, "It's really there. I said I'd be there." Odin stood on the reef, stretched out his finger and drew a circle in the air. "Suk Bader, Mr. Suk, who do you think this is the fishing area that was laid down for you? She is best at protecting fisheries, guarding the best fishing spots on the seashore for Suk Bader. No matter who occupied it, she would squat next to it and stare. Being stared at by the cute little girl would make anyone feel uncomfortable, and over time no one would come again. Going even further, she even stipulated a large area of the sea. Only you, only Suk Bader, can fish or catch fish." Odin was very protective, but Suk Bader didn't care. "I can fish anywhere." She yawned loudly again and wanted to rebait the fishing rod for fishing. "I just said that if the fish ran away, there must be no bait left." However, just as she lifted the fishing rod, two figures ran over from a distance. "Master Suk, Odin, are back." The two have long blonde hair and short red hair respectively. They are friends who have just met each other, Shiranui and Kajiro. "Hey, if you don't go back, you will be beaten by Hai-san." Shiranui wears a big scarf, and her words are much more reliable. "Ah! Sister Hai is back." Suk Bader didn't want her butt to explode, so she put away the fishing rod. Odin picked up the fish basket, and the two of them walked away from the seaside. Yang Yan sounded like a young adult. "You have been doing nothing all day again." Suk Bader suddenly felt a little ashamed, his short hair drooped, and he fished for a long time without achieving anything. However, Odin was dissatisfied. "We caught a lot of fish." Yang Yan didn't really care about this kind of thing. She ran to Odin curiously and wanted to get the fish basket. "Let me take a look." No, Odin protected the fish basket. Yang Yan pouted, "Stingy, I am the protagonist, and the supporting characters who are against the protagonist can't even survive one episode of the comic." The mysterious smile on Shiranui's lips, "The protagonist of level 1. Yang Yan looked at his sister and retorted, "You are an NPC." The sisters slept in the same room. Thinking of Kajiro rummaging through his cabinet every day, Shiranui wrapped his scarf around it again. The protagonist rummaged through his cabinet all day long, and the NPC was miserable. Yang Yan spread his hands, looking like he was helpless against his sister. She suddenly remembered what she heard a few days ago. She reached out and snatched the black cat Oscar from Suk Bader's arms. While smoothing the black cat Oscar's fur, she curiously asked, "Master Suk, Odin, I heard that you were picked up by Sister Hai." When mentioning this matter, Sukbader looked a little embarrassed. Since the admiral disappeared, everyone in the town hall has been noisy. Later, many people left, so I made an appointment with Odin to go out together and left secretly. As for how the governor fought over the two lawless young girls after they left, in the end we can only guess who they left with. They don't know about this kind of thing. The two of them went to the sea and headed north together. After walking a long way on the sea, they were suddenly lifted up. Although I struggled desperately, I still couldn't resist. As a supply ship, it was too weak. Why are you two destroyers running around on the sea? We are a supply ship. Where is your lord? I am the most powerful Lord Sukbader. That means there are no adults, anyway, I took him away. Don't want. Let me ask you, are you wandering or do you have an admiral? There is an admiral. Where is the town hall? I will take you back. The admiral has gone away and disappeared suddenly. No matter how hard we look, we can't find him. Everyone is gone, and so are we. Irresponsible town hall, where is your town hall? Is there anyone there? Well, let me think about it, we kept going north, I can't remember. I've convinced you, I'll help you find the town guard mansion. I can't find it. Still can't find it? Anyway, let's stay here for now. Found it? The unrecorded townhouse has been turned into ruins. You can only live here. Odin and I, we have admirals and cannot join the garrison. We are not a town guard, this is the Kangtai branch under the ship girl headquarters. Can't stop. We have delicious cakes and puddings, and you can also fish every day. Anyway, it's impossible for the two of you to run around outside with two small supply ships. Help, children are being trafficked. Recalling the past, Sukbader nodded honestly. Odin was not so honest. She retorted, you are the ones who picked it up. Yang Yan was serious and held out two fingers, we came with Sister Atago. We have two Sister Atago. Liar. An Atago sister left and said she wanted to travel around. Yang Yan held up the black cat Oscar and ran around on the grass, and then said, when I go back at noon, I want to eat honey-glazed barbecued pork. Sukbader picked the big tiger off his head and shook it, I want to eat fish. I caught a lot of fish. You fish every day, and you will catch all the fish. Sukbader said angrily, if we don't even catch fish, this world will be over. Yang Yan pinched his chin, fish is not as delicious as cake. There's no cake for lunch. We can buy it outside. Odin asked, do you have money? Living here, you have all the basic necessities, food, clothing, housing, and transportation. Of course there is pocket money, but it is very little. Just to name it, little girls should not be given too much money, or they will be spoiled. No. Yang Yan ran behind Sukbader, stretched out his hands and grabbed Sukbader's cheeks, imitating Sukbader's tone, I am very cute, please give me money. Don't pull my face, Let go of Sukbader, let go of Mr. Su. Odin raised his hand high, and a branch-like weapon appeared in his hand. She shouted, thunder and lightning, give me power, Gangnir. Kajiro laughed and ran away, Sukbader rubbed his face, Shiranui muttered, it's just a net cutter. Two Lolita girls and two young girls sneaked into the cafeteria from the alley. In the cafeteria, a woman with short orange hair crosses her legs, then crosses her legs again and again, showing endless charm. In front of her, several photos were lined up on the dining table, and a newspaper was placed next to it. Looking for the Lost Ship Girl. Author, Hai De Rong Yan. Chapter 528. I was out on business and got a newspaper and some photos on my way home. I had already seen it on the road, and when I took it out again, I was still surprised. Who would have thought that Yamato, as a deep-sea flagship, would be photographed in such humiliating photos? Rare, rare, rather this is the first time I have such a photo. After all, the model worker is just talking. In fact, Yamato's combat capability is unparalleled. I picked up the newspaper again and read it carefully. There were not many details about the battle, and it was difficult to describe it. The outstanding achievements were enough. 3 deep-sea flagships were suppressed at the same time. Yamato, Ryojo, and Ziwakaku were all notorious beings. The amazing thing is that, at least for a period of time, the sea will probably be calmer. Where did a garrison find so many battleships, enough to suppress the deep-sea flagship? Even in the Enterprise, there shouldn't be that many people. I don't understand. In my impression, it seems that the last time I defeated deep-sea Yamato, it was probably this garrison. No matter what, this garrison is really amazing. At the same time, with the support of this garrison, the Enterprise will be more vocal in the future. Although everyone is working hard to protect the ship girl, everyone has different ideas. Some advocate more contact with humans, others advocate isolationism. No one can convince anyone. At this time, the right to speak is needed. In short, the company is powerful this time. While thinking about what could happen next, Hai rubbed his forehead and noticed Loli and the young girl walking in from the door. Master Suk. Suk Bader. Come here. Rubbing your face, rather than thinking about those troublesome things, it is indeed better to hug the little girl. A supply ship, a cute little girl, as weak as she is weak, is also an extremely rare existence. It doesn't have much combat power, but it's quite useful. It is said that the heart has expectations and sustenance. Just as a ship girl who gets a ring will repair things faster, being in a happy mood is a good way to speed up repairs. Think about it, taking a bath with such a young girl will increase the repair speed by several percentage points. This must be the most adorable healing tool in the world. I thought so. After all, I have never seen someone who is the most cutest in the world, so I can't be blamed. Suk Bader was picked up and kissed on the face. No, no, no. Most little girls hate being treated like little girls, and Sugubader is no exception. She shook her head desperately. Seeing this scene, Yang Yan said, "Crazy ant." Suddenly, Hai stretched out his hand and hit Keijiro on the head. Even for a little Loli, calling someone an ant is an unforgivable sin. Huh. At the same time, Odin stood aside, and she naturally saw the photos placed on the dining table. She took one and was immediately attracted by the pink-haired woman doing scissor hands in the photo. She was very familiar, but she couldn't remember who it was. Who is this? Hai looked at the photo and threatened, Yamato, the deep-sea flagship, if you disobey, be careful of being captured by her. She likes to capture disobedient supply ships the most, and take off the supply ship's underwear. Odin was not afraid of being frightened at all. She stretched out her finger and pointed at the photo, I'm asking this. Turpits. The cafeteria is not that big. She has long purple hair. Atago walked over and she also picked up a photo. Regarding Atago, Hai had another story. She put Suk Bader down and explained, I told you, a garrison defeated Yamato last time, and this time the garrison directly suppressed 3 deep-sea flagships, Yamato, Ryojo, and Ziwakaku. I think companies and colleges must be helpful, but if a garrison wants to have such a record, it needs many battleships. This admiral is a bit too European, it's amazing. Now, look at this newspaper. Atago picked up the newspaper. Keijiro also took a photo to share with Shiranui and Odin, and Suk Bader put their heads together. Master Su, look, do you think it looks familiar? I seem to know you. Suk Bader looked at the person in the photo and felt that he was familiar with it, but for a while, he couldn't remember who it was. If it was a small house, the two of them would definitely be able to recognize each other at a glance. Baizai has never gone out with her 2 little girls. She usually likes to stay in her room, and few people see her. Sister Hi, I said it was Tirpitz. The name Tirpitz looks so familiar. Well, by the way, whose Oscar is it? Odin always felt that the person in the photo was very close to the black cat Oscar. Suk Bader nodded, the Oscar belongs to the crybaby Kant. The Admiral took the Oscar away. I remember she was still crying. Sister Kant, 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 Kant. Odin chanted repeatedly and suddenly woke up, the ferocious big tiger belongs to Sister Kant. I asked whose Oscar belongs to him. Suk Bader, Sister Lexington. She didn't. Veneto. Her eyes sparkle every time she sees Oscar. No, Oscar is not hers, she just wants Oscar, ha, she doesn't understand. As long as Ginger and Fish Cake are held by others, they will stay still and not scream. Oscar is very naughty. Whose Ginger Fish Cakes are they? Odin suddenly became unhappy. Mine. It was originally mine. The Admiral gave it to me, and I realized that ginger and fish cakes are very good when held by others. Sister Veneto always wanted to ask me for them, but I didn't give them to me, but Sisterhood snatched them away. She took away the ginger and fish cakes. Cake, just give me a diesel engine, why do I need a diesel engine? Suddenly, lightning flashed across his mind, and Odin said, I remembered my little house's cat sister, Sister Bismarck. Suk Bader nodded, then what? Sister Bismarck's sister is Bizai. Suk Bader's expression was innocent, I know, Xiao Zai hates Beizai the most. Odin looked a little helpless. Hearing the conversation between the two young girls, I smiled, Master Su, I don't understand. Everyone generally calls Tirpitz the North House. Suk Bader also remembered, the small house is Little Tirpitz, Young Tirpitz. Oscar belongs to Bismarck's sister, and Bismarck's sister is Tirpitz. Did you think of anything? Atago stood nearby and heard the conversation of the little girl. He remembered the cutest person in the world who he had met. He read the newspaper again and laughed, I seem to know this Admiral. Sugu seems to be called this name. She has Xiazai and Saratoga, the two of them are more powerful than imagined. Shiranui raised his head, he also took away the fireflies. I was confused, Atago, do you know this Admiral? I've never heard of you talking about him. Atago was speechless, it was a long time ago. If Odin and Master Su hadn't mentioned Kotaku, I wouldn't have remembered it. Let me tell you, Kotaku is so cute. She has short pink hair and ship-style cat ears on her head. Small in stature, but full of energy. Cuter than Master Su. Atago nodded, Bai Susama is cuter, to be honest, much cuter. After that, she told what happened in the past. After all, Hai is not a lolicon or a child girl. She knocked on the table, you saved his fireflies. Speaking of which, does he still owe you a favor? That's right. He said you can go to him if you have anything to do. How are people? Looking back on the past, as a ship girl, Atago could see everything clearly. Firefly was very excited to see his admiral. Compared with Firefly's attitude, as an admiral, although he concealed it well, there was no reunion after a long separation, only reluctance and confusion, and the emotions were very complicated. Naturally, Atago didn't know about Sugu's situation, and he was not yet able to take on the role of admiral well at that time. We've only met for a day, so I can't make any comments. I didn't have many thoughts. After all, it didn't have much to do with him and he was someone he didn't know. Firefly, long time no see. Haha, she has been thinking about headbutts all day long. I wonder if she is bald. Shiranui and Keijiro chattered about their former friends. Speaking of fireflies, the most impressive one was the rocket headbutt. Ah! Suddenly, the sound of surprise sounded again. Admiral! Our admiral. I think his name is Sugu. For Bizai, I just felt a little familiar and a little confused at first. However, even if she is a young girl, she is still a ship girl. As a ship girl, she cannot forget the admiral. Odin almost jumped up. Firefly is Firefly, Xiazai is Xiazai, Tirpitz is Bizai's sister, Sugu is our admiral, he is back. Suk Bader opened her mouth little by little. She was so surprised that she could not speak. I blinked. Are you an admiral? Odin was dissatisfied. We have told you before, and you said you would help us find the admiral. I forgot. Suk Bader picked up the photo and held it up. We are going back. I am Lord Suk Bader. The admiral can't do it without me. Sister Hai, take us back to the garrison. Even in his dream, he thought about opening a harem for the admiral, and he had a 100% fondness for the admiral, Suk Bader. Hai also recalled hearing two supply ships talk about the garrison. He also said that there were many battleships, which originally seemed ridiculous. Nowadays, it is really possible to connect the two. She wanted to comply. After all, no one could stop a ship girl from returning to the admiral. However, after thinking for a moment, she suddenly fell silent again. Leaving aside what Atago just described, I always heard Suk Bader mention it from time to time. I'm super powerful, and I've attacked many times. I didn't believe it at the time. You are just a supply ship and have no combat effectiveness at all. But I just struck out. Didn't you say that there are many people in your garrison? If that's the case, why is it your turn? I'm the best at fishing. I'm lucky. Oh my. Afterward, I thought about where the bad admiral came from. Even if Suk Bader is lucky, it will be easier to get companions if they attack together. But if you let a supply ship attack together, no matter how you think about it, it will sink if you are not careful. Are you really not worried about the safety of your own ship? Especially the other incident was extremely heinous. He left the town without leaving any news and abandoned a whole family of shipwives. As Hai, she was once weak. Perhaps due to historical reasons, the Hai was under intensive bombardment. A fire broke out in the superstructure, water entered the steering gear room and motor room, the rudder was inoperable, the communication capability was lost, and then an order was given to abandon the ship. It could actually be rescued. In short, as a ship girl, what she fears most is being abandoned by others. Abandoned by her friends, abandoned by her admiral. Well, she didn't actually have an admiral. As I grew up, I was once naive and weak, but now I have become calm and strong. Don't worry about being abandoned in the future, you can be fine even if you are alone. Without the admiral, friends get along with each other, and they gradually understand that there is always a banquet in the world. Being strong means being strong. Due to his personality, the admiral who abandons the ship girl is the most reluctant to do so. Hai glanced at Odin and Suk Bader, thinking that their admirals seemed to be very bad people. Not to mention the admiral, the people guarding the mansion are also very excessive. Although it is said that part of the reason why two supply ships ran away on their own was, they were not taken care of well. No matter how powerful it is, such an admiral and such a garrison should be investigated by the gendarmerie. Odin and Suk Bader didn't know Hai's psychological activities, and they were happy. You can go home. The admiral is finally back. Hai listened to the excited conversation between Suk Bader and Odin. As the leader of the Kangtai branch of the Kanji headquarters, she was also very calm. I thought that there might be something unspeakable about being so liked by Suk Bader and Odin, but no matter what I thought, the abandonment of the ship girl did happen. You can't let Suk Bader and Odin go back directly. You must first get to know the garrison. If it's too bad, even if he hides it, he can't let it go at will, and he can't let Suk Bader and Odin go back. With this thought in mind, Hai put away the newspaper, reached out and took back all the photos from several people's hands. Not necessarily your admiral. Suk Bader said firmly, it must be, that Sister Bazai in the photo. Hai glanced at Atago and said against his will, every ship girl looks the same. The Bazai in the photo may be just an imagination of your Bazai sister, not your Bazai sister. Your admiral is called Sugu. But there are many admirals named Sugu, and this one may not be your admiral. Suk Bader put his hands on his hips, I am not Quincy. Hai was stunned for a moment, what did you say? Suk Bader spoke again, I'm not an idiot. It must be our admiral. We want to go back. Originally, even a young girl could not be deceived so easily. Odin raised his hand, read the newspaper to me, I want to read the newspaper. Even though she always skipped classes, she still studied a lot, and the young girl also knew some words. Of course Hai would not give the newspaper to Odin. She stood up and said, anyway, you can't leave without my order. Why? Hai said sharply, there is no reason, I just can't leave. Suk Bader and Odin looked at each other. They were restless young girls. Looking for the lost ship girl. Author, Hai De Rong Yan. Chapter 529. Seeing the unhappy Odin and Suk Bader sitting not far away, Hai pursed his lips and explained, I am doing this for their own good, and I don't appreciate it. Otherwise, I would just throw them away. It's also worry-free. Sitting opposite her, Atago took a spoonful of mapo tofu and white rice, and composed his words while eating, I can understand their mood. Hai focused his gaze on Atago. Atago didn't care. Not to mention that the ship girl would never use her power to oppress others. She didn't care about different voices. Her character also couldn't keep her mouth shut, just like a person who knows whether the water is warm or cold when drinking water, you think you are doing it for their own good. You don't, Admiral, it's hard to imagine what it's like to have an admiral. It's like an ordinary family with worse parents. As a child, you still want to return to your parents. A golden nest or a silver nest is not as good as your own doghouse. It was not that I couldn't listen to the opinion, you know, I am the most reluctant to see an admiral give up on a ship girl. Maybe there is something unspeakable. I've thought about this, but I won't talk about it for now. But he did send the supply ship to attack, and he wasn't worried about sinking. They are doing well now. If they want to attack, they will naturally have means of protection. Suk Bader also said that there are many people in the garrison, some have been destroyed, and no one has been sunk. Besides, many newly awakened destroyers are not as good as them. It's different. Destroyers will slowly grow and become very powerful. If they can't do that, the limit is there. Atago hesitated for a moment, no matter how big a destroyer is, it's not as good as a battleship, and no matter how big a battleship is, it's not as good as an aircraft carrier loaded with B-25 bombers. The supply ship is not a combat ship at all. They are ship girls after all. I repeated, the supply ship is not a combat ship at all. Atago rubbed his temples, the military police can only do supervision work. If the ship girl is not willing, they will not take the ship girl away by force. To put it harshly, what is your relationship with them? What is the relationship between the admiral and them? You have what kind of power? I have no choice, but I know that there is no ship girl who doesn't want to return to the admiral, and return to him immediately. I breathed a sigh of relief, it's better not to be an admiral. It's an extra constraint in vain. It also gives me a lot more peace of mind and happiness. Atago smiled, now that the admiral has passed away, there is no way to stay with him. However, given another chance to choose, I still hope to meet the admiral. Even if they only live together for a short time, even if they can only be alone for the rest of their lives. Just like this, no matter if I encounter the best garrison along the way, I will never join again. Recalling the past, There was a hint of happiness in the corner of his mouth. Atago said, "Anyway, what are you going to do next?" I was silent for a long time, and then took out the newspaper. "I don't know either, but in the report, the name of the admiral was mentioned repeatedly, and the location of the town palace was even described. I didn't understand it at first, but now that I think about it, I'm afraid it's just to make it easier for everyone to find it. Go back. It seems that a lot of effort has been put into it, at least it can be considered thoughtful." Atago was non-committal. "I think it would be better to issue a missing person notice directly. It is not good for them to do this." I glanced at Atago lightly and asked, "Which side are you on?" "I'm on the side of reason. The missing person notice is very strange. If you print out the missing person notice, you will be laughed at in the guardhouse for the rest of your life." I burst into laughter again. "Sook Bader, female, supply ship, short hair, small, super cute. If I see the revelation, please return to the garrison as soon as possible. If anyone knows anything, please contact me. Thank you very much. I, Admiral Sugu, have lost 2 supply ships today, the supply ship Sook Bader and the supply ship Odin. I hope some kind-hearted people will pick them up and return them as soon as possible. I will be grateful." Haha, if it were me, I wouldn't be a human anymore. What does this mean, looking for a lost ship girl? Atago looked helpless, and she said, "I, Admiral Sugu, disappeared due to an accident and returned today. I hope everyone will see the revelation and return soon." I raised her hand. Of course she knew it was just a joke. She looked at Sook Bader and Odin. "My attitude remains unchanged. Well, I can send them back directly, but I also have to go see the guardhouse mansion. Notify them. Don't be anxious. Let them be anxious. They dare to talk back to me. It's a waste of money for them. Besides, the garrison is not close. Now the ships have been sailed away, and we can't sail with them. Their speed is only 10 knots. In short, let's wait for the boat first and then take a look." The walls are covered with cartoon pictures. There are 2 wooden beds side by side on one side of the wall, with a desk and counter below and a bed above. There is a lamp on the desk, many pencils and crayons, and a lot of cartoons. There is a warm and soft pink quilt on the bed, and a big doll is placed next to the pillow. Sook Bader sat behind his desk, his face on the table and his hands stretched out. When she returned to the dormitory after lunch, she remained like this. "Odin, Odin, the Admiral is finally back." "Yes. He's not coming to pick us up. He doesn't know where we are." Sook Bader nodded. "We have to go home by ourselves. It seems that my sister won't let us go. I do not know why either." Can we never go back?" Sook Bader showed a confident smile again, "but no one can stop us from going home. Let's escape quietly." Odin rolled his eyes at Sook Bader. "Do you know how to get back?" "I don't know. Anyway, let's run away first and then find our way home." "What should I do if I can't find it?" Sook Bader shook his hands as if swimming on the table. "Look for it slowly. We can't find it, and we don't have any money. Where can we sleep at night?" Sook Bader kept straightening up. Chiang, you see, I have been prepared. Each of us brings a cardboard box and sleeps in the cardboard box." Odin's expression was ugly. Even though she was also a restless young girl, she still felt that she had escaped. She was a little reluctant and wanted to know more about the situation. Sister Hai, who was confident in everyone, had a point. Is this really the case? That's it, we set off at night, they definitely don't know. Sook Bader laughed. Don't be afraid if you know. We are ninjas, let's watch the darts. Kunao, or darts. I don't understand, it's okay. Anyway, we're leaving at night. We are ninjas, flying over walls and walls. Sook Bader became serious again. Anyway, before night, we have to pretend that everything is normal. In the dark night, the faint moonlight shines. Between the buildings, there are barriers, fences, sandbags, barbed wire, and barbed wire everywhere. Woof woof woof, accompanied by the sound of dogs barking, a patrol officer walking by with a dog and a flashlight. At the same time, the spotlights on tall buildings and sentry towers shot down beams of light, illuminating a large circle on the ground. The large circle rotated and moved over and over again on the ground. Tie a headband on your head with the words "must win" written on it, which Suk Bader knew from Keijiro and Shiranui. At this time, she poked her head out from behind the wall and carefully observed the surrounding safety environment. She saw Atago walking over with a black-backed dog, and she carefully disappeared into the darkness. Until Atago completely disappeared, half of her body was exposed again. Odin, Odin, this is Suk Bader, the front is safe, you can come out. Go. Go. Suk Bader tiptoed out of the darkness. Another lazy donkey, he avoided the beam of light from the spotlight and quickly hid next to the sandbags that were piled up several layers. Seeing that the patrol officer Atago was coming again, she quickly motioned to Odin to follow him quickly. The two people were lying next to the sandbag, the beam of the spotlight flashed over their heads, and Atago also walked by. The cat bent over the sandbag and ran across the barbed wire fence in front of it. Suk Bader took out the scissors he carried with him and cut the barbed wire. Just after crossing the barbed wire and browsing the barbed wire, an alarm sounded behind me, and Yang Yan's voice suddenly came from ahead. Suk Bader, Odin, I know what's going on with you. Go quickly, this way, I will lead you. Holding fists, thank you. Following Yang Yan, the road ahead became darker and darker. Suk Bader had already realized that something was wrong, and she stretched out her hand to strangle Yang Yan's neck. Cage Yan, where are you taking us? What are you doing, Suk Bader? I told you to take you away. I know a path that leads directly to the seaside. As long as you reach the seaside, you will be safe and free. Cage Yan, when did you take refuge in Hai? I have walked this road, and there is a dead end in front of me, with no way to go. Wait, please listen to my explanation. Humph, you still want to use delaying tactics, but you have no chance. Suk Bader had already raised his hand and punched his chest, causing Yang Yan to fly backwards. Odin was surprised. You killed her. No one can survive my punch, no one. Military killing punch, invincible with one punch. Well, Yang Yan, after all, he used to be our companion. I withdrew 9 points of my power, and I was just knocked unconscious. Suk Bader looked up and saw that the moonlight was getting brighter and redder. We defeated Yang Yan, and they will definitely catch up before Yang Yan goes back. Odin immediately panicked. What should I do? Suk Bader looked calm. There is no way out, we can only move forward. No, moving forward is also to fall into a trap. Odin looked confused and looked around. Let's run back and go in the opposite direction. They won't be able to catch up with us. No, when they learn that we have discovered the trap, they will definitely guess that we ran in the opposite direction. In this case, the imaginary is the real thing, and the real thing is the imaginary. We only need to do this, and do this again. Odin clapped his hands. Suk Bader, you are so powerful. They must not know that we are doing the opposite. Humph, when did I stop being awesome? The two people walked through the woods, surrounded by dense weeds. They pushed aside the weeds and thorns, and suddenly there was a sound of applause. Bang bang bang. I saw Shiranui walking out of the darkness. I didn't expect that you could actually come here. You. Shiranui, have you joined them too? I've never been on your side. Hateful. Enough chatter, you can either stay or die here. I'm not as easy to deal with as Yang Yan. Hey, do you think I have forgotten you, A smile appeared on Suk Bader's face. I have not forgotten you, I have always been careful about you, and I have a big gift waiting for you. Look back, behind you have what? Don't trick me, don't try to divert my attention, just keep an eye on you and Odin. No, no, you are holding Oscar, and the ferocious tiger is gone. Where is the big tiger? Is it raining on your face? It's not rain, the moonlight is gone, it's saliva, the big tiger is here, why is it so big? Suk Bader raised his hand, haha, you should have known from the beginning that since it is called a ferocious tiger, how could it be a little kitten? Your failure has long been doomed. Seeing Shiranui unconscious under the claws of a fierce tiger as tall as one person, Suk Bader continued, stop talking, Odin, Shiranui failed, let's keep going. Through the woods, there's a beach ahead. Wait, Odin, wait. In the ominous bloody moonlight, another person walked out, have you discovered me yet? Hi-I-sama. Odin, she is not our sister Hi-I. She has been our enemy since she stopped us from returning home. Turn back, you still have a chance. As long as you turn around, I will forgive you. Don't try to fool us anymore. No one can stop us from going home. Then come on, just defeat me and you can go. Suk Bader, what should I do? We have no choice but to fight, the decision is yours, Oscar, use crazy grabbing. Gangnir, give me strength. Victory or death? Respite. Respite. You are very strong. I lost. You go. Hi-I-sama, I'll call you Hi-I-sama one last time. The reason why you failed is because you don't understand love, you don't understand the bond between the ship girl and the admiral, you don't understand the power of the bond. Anyway, goodbye, again. Don't see me either. I will return to the admiral and accompany him to build the most powerful garrison. Odin, let's go. Suk Bader, Odin, welcome home, you are my most powerful supply ship. Of course, I am the most powerful Suk Bader. Suk Bader, Lord Suk, wake up, wake up. Drowsily, Suk Bader climbed up from the bed. She looked around, why are you still here? Odin, it's strange, we have obviously returned to the garrison. It's inexplicable, last night you said we should go to bed first and get up in the middle of the night to escape. What? We slept until the next day. Now the bell rang and we went to have breakfast. It took a lot of effort for Suk Bader to realize that he was dreaming again. She was not discouraged, it doesn't matter if you missed it, we won't sleep tonight. Ah, no need, I think we should talk to Hi-I-san about our thoughts. No, Odin, are you going to betray the revolution too? Thinking of his dream, Suk Bader looked at Odin one day. He finally stayed up until night, turned off the light, and hid under the quilt. After waiting for a long time, Odin went to sleep. Suk Bader kept pinching his face to remind him that he couldn't sleep. If he did, it would be the next day. The quilt has magic power. Once you fall asleep, you can't get up and you can't give in. She didn't know how long it took, but finally she couldn't bear it anymore, so she lifted the quilt. Wake up, Odin. It's already late at night, and we're going to set off. Put on your backpack, Odin, you hold Oscar, and I'll hold the big tiger. Odin was pulled by Suk Bader, and they opened the door and saw Hi-I wearing white pajamas. Hi-I blinked, why are you running out at 9 o'clock, well, you are still carrying a backpack, holding Oscar and Big Tiger, you want to run away. Don't try to stop us from getting home. Suk Bader must escape. Hi-I thought to himself, I originally planned to inform you that it was time to pack up your things in the evening and say goodbye personally. You can leave tomorrow. Now you tell me that you plan to run away? Okay, little girl, I am immature and homesick. If I don't care about you, I will send you back. Hi-I sneered, gasping, angry, his chest rising and falling, You want to go home, right? I will go home for you. By the next day, Suk-Bator and Odin could go home. A small cargo ship docked at the Kangtai branch and left soon after carrying a large container. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Looking for the Lost Ship Girl. Author, Hai De Rong Yan. Chapter 530. Odin and Suk-Bator were locked inside the container. Of course, being locked in a container sounds scary. In fact, apart from holding two young girls, the container contained no extra cargo. Even the bottom of the box is not cold iron, but covered with a layer of quilt, as soft as if it were on a bed. There was also a lot of bread, cakes, milk. The black cat Oscar and the ferocious tiger were also thrown in, as well as fairy tale books to kill time. In short, everything is fine except that I can't run around. Well, I can't run around, which is actually the worst thing for a restless young girl. Unable to find the flashlight, Suk-Bator carefully asked with the light coming from the small hole in the container, Odin, where did you say we are? Odin could feel the shaking, everything was shaking, and she guessed, probably on the ship. Do you think we will be sold? Suk-Bator thought of the story of human traffickers. In the stories passed down orally by ship girls, in order to teach Lolita and young girls not to run around, even ship girls can be trafficked. Odin knew better and said hesitantly, no. But we've been here a long time. Not long, not even a day. Suk-Bator patted the iron sheet of the container, otherwise we smash the container and escape. If the container is smashed, we won't be able to leave. Hai-Sama will catch us, and we can't defeat her. But we are at sea, and I can't stand it anymore. I want to go fishing, shark fishing. Odin crawled to Suk-Bator's side. If you want to go out, why don't you apologize to Sister Hai so that we can go out? The young girl also had a temper. Suk-Bator turned his head and said, if you don't apologize, she said she won't send us back to the town hall. But she said she would send us back to the town hall, and she is on the boat going back now. Even so, she locked us up. This was true, Odin couldn't argue with it, and she hung her head. Suk-Bator took a piece of bread and after eating it, he gave a big hug and hugged the big tiger. I'm going to sleep. Even though it was broad daylight, it was dark inside the container. Besides, Suk-Bator was a young girl who could fall asleep if she wanted to. Odin was not so heartless. She took a bite of bread, sighed, and thought to herself, she really wanted to eat greasy pig's trotters. There was a whirring sound. It was obvious that Suk-Bator had fallen asleep and no one spoke. It was so boring. Odin searched everywhere, found a flashlight, and picked up a comic book. Such a childish story, it turned out to be about a puppy coming home. Even young girls, unless they are only 3 years old, don't like to read such childish fairy tales. Adults are always self-righteous. The two young girls were both heartless to some extent, but one of them was in distress. According to the order of the company leader, send a container. I thought it was a trivial matter, but there were always strange sounds coming from the container. As the captain of a small cargo ship, if you want to check it out, you will be rejected immediately. When I mustered up the courage to ask what was inside, I got a specious answer. However, according to sailors who happened to pass by, there were voices and singing coming from inside the container. If it weren't for the fact that the other party is a ship girl, I believe that as a ship girl, she would not do bad things or do things against her will. I also heard that he was the leader of the Kangtai branch of the ship girl headquarters, and he had status and status. Otherwise, as usual, I would have been wondering whether there were human smugglers and snakeheads involved in smuggling people across the border. At the same time, the sounds coming from the container were quite childish, making people wonder if they were child abductors. Curiosity has been bothering me for a long time, and I finally mustered up the courage and decided to get to the bottom of it. I stood on the deck, thinking about what to do next, when a voice appeared. "Can I ask, what's inside the container?" "Ordinary express delivery, nothing." I seem to hear voices coming from inside. "What? You can't trust me?" "No, just out of curiosity. Actually, they are two children. I have to take them to the address I gave you, that townhouse." Suddenly thinking of something bad, the young captain hesitated. "Even if it is a destroyer, you can't give it to anyone at will. Doesn't your ship girl headquarters say that it will never force the will of any ship girl?" I waved his hand. "It's not that I want to give it to someone, it's that they insist on going. Anyway, I told you, you don't understand, so just leave it alone." "How could you not care?" I was helpless. Punishment, a punishment. Who told them to be disobedient? If you don't believe it, you can find out for yourself. The two people walked to the side of the container. In order to reassure people, I patted the container. "Odin, Suk Bader, do you realize your mistake? As long as you admit your mistake, I will let you out." The captain immediately saw a pair of eyes, which were large and bright, peeking out from the small hole in the container. A childish voice sounded, "Sister I was not wrong. I refused at first." She fell asleep due to Suk Bader's words. I snorted softly. "Since you don't admit your mistake, then continue to be honest. Also, this captain wants to talk to you." The young voice sounded again, "Mr. Captain, what do you want to say?" Instead of calling for help, I called for my sister. The two little girls were not abused. As a captain, I finally relaxed. It's just some punishment that's easy to handle, but it's not easy for me to interfere in this aspect. "Sorry, I doubted you." "It's okay, your attitude is worthy of admiration." The captain completely relaxed and saw the two people leaving. He thought to himself that he didn't say anything, and Odin was a little troubled. It was obviously Suk Bader who wanted to escape, so it would be fine to lock her up alone. Why should he also suffer the consequences and be locked up in a container? I had no interest in reading the cartoon book and walked around inside the container, but there was nothing I could do. Odin waved the flashlight and saw that Suk Bader was using the big tiger as a pillow and was sleeping soundly. He thought to himself, "I might as well get some sleep." The two little girls were all asleep, one with the big tiger as her pillow, and the other with Oscar, the black cat. This reassured the captain, but made Hai unhappy, thinking that locking him up had no punitive effect at all. On the other side, the reward from the ship girl headquarters finally arrived. A medal was given, along with a series of useless certificates. Glory aside, the highlight is a boat full of resources, and this reward is better. Standing in the warehouse, Sugu looked at Leipzig, who was counting resources. The girl's face was full of smiles. "Is it enough?" Unlike games, resources can be represented by data, and the amount is what it is. Here, it is possible to use any number of resources, more or less. In this case, it is understandable and worth being excited about. If it's less, I'll naturally have to talk about it. You are an entrepreneur and have a great cause, but I am just a small town guardian. It is not easy to make a small amount of money. With neat short blonde hair, wearing a brown jacket and an extra black apron, Leipzig took off his gloves and clapped his hands. "It's just a lot more. I hope we can get a lot of resources when we come to the deep sea flagship next time." Sugu looked around. "You have other ideas?" "The deep sea flagship is difficult to deal with. Suppressing the deep sea flagship seems easy. It is not a game. We have to force everyone to fight for some resources, so let's forget it." Leipzig retorted, "Wealth can be found in danger. Forget it, I can't play. You just have no idea." Listening to this, Sugu thought of his best friend since childhood, who graduated from college and went into business. The risk was high, but I also made a lot of money. He has become a small boss. At the beginning, he was still working hard to prepare for the exam, just to ensure the harvest during droughts and floods. Seeing Sugu's silence, Leipzig stuck out the tip of his tongue. I said it casually. I won't attack anyway, you are the admiral. Whatever you do is definitely up to you. Fine. Nodding, Sugu picked up the decorative anchor placed on the warehouse shelf. Although these things are small, they have extremely high commemorative significance, carry the thoughts of too many people, and are of quite high value. While stroking the rusty metal, he said, Leipzig, by the way, I want to. Before he could finish speaking, Leipzig spoke quickly, building. Admiral, you'd better not even think about it. It's not necessary. There are already so many people in the garrison, and you also have many wedding ships. You should be satisfied. It's obvious that Leipzig is infected with hamster disease and is clamoring for resources. In the game, the submarine with the lowest consumption must be used for daily missions, otherwise 1 billion will be lost. Sugu explained, don't be so anxious. I haven't finished speaking yet. I don't want to build. You start staring at the resources, your eyes are almost bulging, and you suddenly speak, you have to doubt. To be honest, Leipzig is still a very cute girl even if she doesn't talk about money. But when she talks about money, she becomes sulky easily. Sugu explained, after suppressing the deep-sea flagship, it seems that the deep-sea ship girls have not appeared for a while. Apart from scattered reports, there are far fewer deep-sea ship girls, and most of them have gone dormant. Or it really seems like someone said, the awakening of the deep-sea ship girl requires the history and memory in steel. In order for the deep-sea flagship to wake up again, the sea also needs to pay a lot. Well, as for what I just wanted to say, it's nothing, it will be New Year's Day in a while. Do you want to have a New Year's Day party, or let's go out together on New Year's Day? Leipzig lifted a large piece of steel and threw it aside. There was a banging sound and an accident occurred. She shrugged cutely and said, you shouldn't ask me, you should discuss it with Lexington. If you want to hold a party, you need a program. Lexington and I don't make the decision. If you want to hold it, you will definitely need to play. I want to hear your opinions. Moreover, whether you go out to have fun or hold a party, you need a lot of money. Leipzig's eyes suddenly lit up. He stretched out his hand to grab Sugu's hand and put it on his chest. Admiral, are you ready to hand over the financial power to me? I will not let you down. Trying to pull his hand out of Leipzig's, Sugu didn't mind pouring cold water on him. No, you're overthinking. I just said it casually, just like before. Leipzig immediately lost interest. Whatever, if you want us to perform, you have to perform too. A performance is a performance, and I can still sing a few songs. The warehouse was completely handed over to Leipzig, and Sugu did not interfere. He walked outside, the cold wind was blowing, and there was no sunshine in the weather. He didn't want to walk outside at all. Speaking of which, it's getting colder and colder these days. It's good to have the sun during the day, but I need to wear more clothes at night. Would you like to bring the kotetsu into the room? While talking to himself, a whistle suddenly sounded. Sugu looked towards the pier and thought, is there a ship docking at the pier? The guest, or the company is here again, but she has already settled all the rewards. Still wondering, Sugu saw York City running towards him from a distance. The girl was wearing a brown windbreaker and with short hair, she looked chic and handsome. Admiral, someone is looking for you and says there is a courier for you. The destroyer was in class, and occasionally people walked by the townhouse. It was okay, but no one went to the pier, which seemed deserted. Sugu and York City rushed to the dock. There was a small cargo ship parked at the dock. Another bright red container has been unloaded, with Bumblebee and Northampton beside it, and an unknown tall woman with short orange hair. Just when he ran up, Sugu had already spoken over there before he said hello. Admiral Sugu. Sign for it, your courier, probably your courier. Is express delivery possible? Could it be sent to the wrong person? There should be no admiral named Sugu anymore. With a trace of doubt in his heart, Sugu asked, the company sent it here. No, the company can't control me yet. Learned it from the academy. No, it should be said that I gave it to you. For a moment, he didn't know what to say. He would not accept a gift casually. Sugu walked around the container. Why give it to me? What's in it? He reached out and knocked on the container, and a childish voice suddenly came from inside. What are you doing? Don't knock on the box. Sugu was stunned. Is there someone there? There are people, 2 little girls. Sugu's expression was completely confused. The orange-haired woman smiled and said, Admiral Sugu, you should inspect the goods first. Why is this sentence so strange? While thinking about it, Sugu watched the woman reach out and open the door of the box. The container opened sideways, and when he opened it, he saw 2 young girls lying in the container, one holding a black cat, and the other holding a huge orange cat. Seemingly surprised by the door opening, the little girl shook her legs and raised her head. I have to say that the little girl with her big eyes is very cute. When York City saw it, she didn't know why, but it didn't stop her from teasing Sugu. She reached out and patted Sugu on the shoulder. Admiral, your special hobby has been exposed. Others give gifts to young girls. Sugu was always rude to York City. Take your claws away, and don't frame me falsely. Bumblebee also saw it, and she was full of surprise. Suk Bader, and Odin. A courier girl. A girl in a box. Looking for the lost ship girl. Author, Hai De Rong Yan. Chapter 531. In the small supply ship, Suk Bader and Odin were thrown into the container and returned as express delivery, which was surprising. Thinking about it in the game, it can be considered as being mailed to players, which is just right. After some recognition, they learned the identity of the orange-haired woman, Kangtai Branch Hai. I also learned what happened from Hai's mouth, and I only have one word to feel about the 2 guys returning like this, ugh. At least give people some time, running away will make everyone worry. Of course, after hearing the news about the Toot Larry mansion, the spirit of trying to return to the Toot Larry mansion was touching. I picked up 2 little guys at sea, and there was no adult around them. Thank you, we have been looking for them. I heard that you left the town hall before. There are special circumstances. Can I visit your castle? No problem. In the simple conversation, Hai didn't say anything clearly, but Sugu also heard it and interpreted that he was somewhat dissatisfied with what he had done. Very dissatisfied with myself for abandoning the ship girl. I am very dissatisfied with myself for not taking good care of my little lowly and young daughter. He was also very dissatisfied with the fact that the town guard didn't care about letting the 2 young girls go out. A visit is actually better said to be an inspection. This lack of trust makes people a little uncomfortable. My garrison, my ship girl, what rights do you have? Do you need to take care of so much? But the other party has taken care of the little girl for such a long time, so he has feelings for her. It's not like he has been pestering him all the time. Sugu can still understand doing this, but he is just a little unhappy. He thinks he has always been very loving towards the little lowly and the little girl. Since the other party wants to visit the Toot Larry mansion, he doesn't worry or mind. With a tacit understanding, Sugu led Odin and Suk Bader, who was carrying a ferocious tiger on his head, up the steps to the governor's house. He finally understood that the large fat orange cat was Kent's pets. Starting from walking up the steps, Sugu introduced, our previous town hall has been turned into ruins and has not been rebuilt. After I became the admiral again, I placed the town hall here. On the basis of the old town hall, I carried out renovations and reconstruction. This step has also been repasted with cement. We have many destroyers in the garrison, as well as many submarines. Although it is not a big deal if the ship girl falls, handrails and guardrails are still installed. The extra long slide next to it is also newly built. I hope it can be used for everyone to play. In short, our townhouse is not big, so we should use every place as much as possible. Sook Bader jumped up and down beside him. Admiral, can I play? No problem. In a few moments, Sook Bader climbed up many steps and slid down the slide. The speed of falling was very fast, and Sugu picked up Sook Bader, who quickly slid in front of him. Be careful, it's easy to fall. Sook Bader's face was full of excitement. Can I play every day? Can. Admiral, can you also play with me every day? Can. Oh, you still want to be like before, doing nothing every day and leaving the work to your sisters. Baring teeth, Sugu thought to himself, no young girl is easy to deal with. After entering the governor's mansion, he took everyone to the playground and pushed the swings. The destroyers in our garrison like to have many people standing on the swing together. The iron chain of the swing broke once before, and then the chain was thickened and welded, and now it will not break again. He is very confident in the little playground he designed. Sure enough, Odin and Sook Bader were immediately attracted. Odin seemed quieter, but his eyes were shining. Sook Bader started from the seesaw, then moved on to swivel chairs, rocking tigers, drilling holes, arched circles, sand pools, etc., and tried them one by one. After playing around for a while, Sook Bader ran to Sugu, our townhouse. Yes, our townhouse is not bad. But I want the Diaotai. How about an exciting compliment? Sugu complained, if you want to find Diaotai, you have to go to the beach. Standing next to the swing, hunched over, he pressed his hands on the seatboard of the swing. It was impossible to explain the game's braking mechanism. Sugu thought for a while and said, I have asked them to attack before, but I can do one thing guaranteed, there is a way to bring them back safely. There are many specific reasons, and I can't say them. You can just think of it as a protective measure. Our garrison is also quite strong. Went to the cafeteria again, there was nothing noteworthy here, the environment can be seen at a glance. As a ship girl, you don't need to pay too much attention to nutrition. Breakfast is usually a variety of breads, porridge, and sandwiches. Forget it, I can't introduce them all. In short, they eat what we eat. But one thing is that they are naughty. If they miss the meal and want to eat again, they will have no chance, and we will not tolerate them. During this period, Prince Eugen walked by wearing a chef's hat and looked at everyone suspiciously. Sugu waved his hand and said it was okay. I just took Hai to visit, thank you for your continued care, and it was also reassuring. Rather than really treating Hai as a leader, he would call out each employee to let the leader take a look. After leaving the cafeteria, the dormitory happened to be upstairs. I didn't mind taking people to see it. Anyway, the destroyer's dormitory was not secret. On the way, Sugu said, Helena, Tianlong, and Long Tian have always been in charge of management. Sook Bader raised his head, Sister Helena is very fierce. I will help you inform your sister Helena of the sentence truthfully. Sook Bader quickly grabbed Sugu's trousers, Admiral, no. On the stairs, I met Saratoga head-on. The girl called brother-in-law and ran to Sugu's side. She cast a wary look at Hai and took Sugu's hand. Not to mention the strange expression on Hai's face when he saw the girl calling brother-in-law and holding her brother-in-law's arm. Saratoga saw Sook Bader and Odin, and then she roughly understood the situation from York City's mouth, and was much less wary of Biru. Entering a random dormitory, Sugu patted the frame of the wooden bed and said confidently, "This is the standard dormitory for a destroyer in our garrison." Saratoga looked around. "This must be Fletcher's dormitory. I remember that Thatcher liked to sleep with Sigsby. The two of them always hid in the bed. When it comes to this, Sugu is much more familiar with it." He leaned against the desk with a look of disdain. "Jia, you are wrong. The bed you are looking at belongs to Fletcher, and Thatcher also likes to sleep with Fletcher, sleep with Che, not Sigsby. So, this thin, slightly transparent pajamas belongs to Fletcher, right?" "No, Fletcher doesn't wear pajamas to bed. She's always naked. They belong to Sigsby. Hey, I remembered that Sigsby's favorite thing was to run into your room in his pajamas. I have worn it a few times before, and your sister lectured me on it. Now no one helps her buy silk pajamas. She only has cotton pajamas. Start with who likes to do what, and who goes to bed the latest. Who gets up the earliest? What happened to who? Sullivan has been imitating Fletcher recently and has been naked in the dormitory several times. Lafayette likes to put a lot of little yellow ducks in the bathtub when he takes a bath. I washed Kong Xiang's hair once. I feel so tired. Long hair is too troublesome. It's better to have Xiaozhe and Xiaozhe before. Xiaozhe's short hair is very convenient." Sugu talked more, and Northampton finally couldn't stand it anymore as everyone was together, and the girl walked to him. "Admiral, you are a man." The voice was very low. Sugu frowned. "Of course I am a man, and I know who I am. I mean, a man shouldn't know so much about the destroyer." Turning around carefully, Sugu saw Hai-Ai's face becoming more and more strange, and coughed. "Helena is my wedding ship, and she has always been in charge of the destroyer. To blame, she actually likes children very much, and she likes to talk to me the most. These things happened. I didn't want to hear it, and she kept saying it." As he spoke, Hai-Ai's expression finally improved as he took a peek. Of course, Sugu wouldn't do some strange things to the little Lolita, and he did just listen to what others said. Coming out of the dormitory, Hai-Ai said, "I didn't see the destroyer in your garrison." "Class, they are in class." Suk Bader blinked his big eyes. "Ah. We also have to go to class." Yes. Seeing Suk Bader's face grimace, Sugu continued, "Don't worry, the course is very easy and there is no need for so much rote memorization. There is a floor of the complex building dedicated to destroyers. Classrooms, sports rooms, housekeeping rooms, etc. are all located here." There were several people sitting in the office, and Sugu introduced them casually. "No, London, she is a British lady. She is mainly responsible for teaching flower arrangement, etc., and etiquette. By the way, the governor's house does not pay much attention to etiquette. You can be more casual. There is no need to open your mouth and say thank you and sorry. Being too polite will look awkward. But whether you know how to do it or not are two different things. You still need to pay attention to some etiquette in front of outsiders. Otherwise, people will look down on you, which is bad." The other two people, Jade and Enterprising, are in the office, probably just playing with London. The person with blue hair is the Helena. "I told you, my wedding ship. Yes, she is the one who keeps telling me about the destroyer." Hai-Ai took a look at it and thought, "It's just like what Suk Bader said, it's really nice breasts." Finally went to the classroom with Tianlong and Long Tian as teachers. It seems that he is not in class at this time, but doing some activities. Kong Xiang was in her seat. She saw Sugu standing outside and immediately waved. Immediately afterwards, more people saw Sugu and smiled. When Hai-Ai saw this scene, she could tell, seeing the admiral, everyone's face showed joy for a moment, and they didn't have any resentment towards the admiral. Based on what I saw and heard at the beginning, there must be a reason for such a person to abandon everyone. There must be a reason for not being able to take good care of people. The other party is definitely qualified as an admiral, but he is indeed a little too sensitive. Standing by the window, Sugu smiled, "This is our guardhouse." Hi, I nodded, "It's a very nice tutelage, and everyone is cute." Out of the desire to show off, Sugu said, "Do you want me to let everyone perform for you? Is this okay?" "It doesn't matter, you are a guest." Sugu vowed, but the little Lolita was very resistant to performing on stage. Even if the admiral requested it, none of them had any idea. Seeing that there was no other way, he couldn't lose his majesty in front of outsiders. Sugu used the form of an order and said coldly, "Xiaozai, you go up first and sing." Xiaozai looked unhappy, "Why me?" "It's you, don't talk nonsense." Under Sugu's stern expression, Xiaozai slowly walked to the podium. "Admiral, you can sing whatever you want, right?" "Can. But if I sing, they should sing too," Xiaozai said while pointing his hand under the podium. "We don't worry about poverty, we don't worry about wealth, we only worry about inequality, and it's the same as a ship girl. Sing, everyone sing one." Xiaozai grimaced again, "I can't sing all the songs." Many children's songs can only be sung by Sugu. Of course Sugu couldn't remember all the children's songs, and everyone obviously couldn't sing them all either. Sugu waved his hand, "It doesn't matter, just sing as much as you can. Sing what you're good at, don't sing what you repeat." I have to say that Xiaozai's childish voice is great, and she sang a childhood song. On the banyan tree by the pond, cicadas are singing about summer, on the swing by the playground, only butterflies are sitting on it. Xiaozai only sang half of the song and got off the platform. She ran from the classroom to the corridor outside. She immediately saw Sukbader and Odin. She tilted her head in confusion and screamed again. Still no one came up to the stage in the classroom, so Sugu called his name again, "Lafitte, come up." Lafitte was full of energy. She ran to the podium and sang loudly, "Let us swing the oars and the boat pushes away the waves, the beautiful white tower is reflected on the sea, surrounded by green trees and red walls." Some people sang about snails and orioles, some sang about grandma's penhube, or about catching loaches, all of which were taught by Sugu. Until the little fairy Sigsbai came to the podium, she coughed slightly and stretched out her hand towards Sugu. "Mandarin ducks and butterflies fly together, the spring scenery in the garden is intoxicating." I quietly asked the admiral, "Is my daughter beautiful? Is my daughter beautiful?" By the window, Saratoga kicked Sugu, "Brother-in-law, you teach Sigsbai this kind of song." Sugu felt aggrieved, "I didn't teach her. I don't know where she heard it from. It must have been you singing somewhere that made them listen. I sing most about Guam." Okay, you also have ideas about Guam." "What?" "I just sang casually." Xiaozai was always by her side, so she said, "The admiral also taught me." Little house. Sugoze explained to Saratoga that while everyone was still continuing in the classroom, Sigsbai took the lead, and the direction suddenly changed, and Utopia suddenly ran to the stage. "The wind has decided to leave, how can Yoon stay? I once held the hand that was free to death, since you have no intention, I should let go, why bother to pester endlessly? Dion is also a restless girl, you ask me how deeply I love you, how much I love you, my feelings are true, my love is true, the moon represents my heart." U47 ran onto the stage, laughing and joking, "There are so many beauties around you, but you seem to have only chosen me. After falling in love, you don't come to me. You always say that you are too busy to spend time with me." Until Sukbader felt interesting, she ran to the podium excitedly, "There is an ancient Eastern story, let me tell you, there was a general who was so great that all the beautiful girls wanted to marry him." After a long time, Sugu finally explained to Saratoga in a low voice that it must be the KTV that was up to something. Suddenly, A cold voice sounded around. Admiral Su, you have been teaching everyone this? No matter how you think about it, it is wrong to attack little Lolita and young girls. Saratoga suppressed laughter. York City laughed. Sugu saw Hai-Ai's livid face and thought, come on, it's over, and his reputation will be lost.